What's happening in San Diego? Great Friday to you. We have reached the end of the work week. It is Annie and Elsten here with you, your midday hang, ready to take you through it and head you into that big sports weekend on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are all together in our Odyssey studios, which have been newly decked out with some holiday flair. With Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Suprenant, I'm Craig Elsten. Great to be here with you from 10 to 2 every weekday. Annie's here. What's going on? Annie, that's your cue.
Thank you so much. Doing great. How is everyone? Happy Friday to everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. Week before Thanksgiving. This is probably the last day of work for some people. So hope everyone goes out and has a really, really nice day.
I think yesterday was the last day of work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially the people that have the whole week off this week.
Oh, my
Which
gosh.
I didn't realize that I think the school is out next week.
Not everybody's.
For Cathedral, I guess it is because there's like just in case we win or everything like that, it's like it might be morning practices because you got to plan super far in advance with fields usage and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
An 8 in the morning practice next week would be tough.
Interesting. Okay. Well, lucky kids get the
I think
whole
they
week
get the
off.
Yeah, I used to never get the whole week off.
Me neither. I never had the whole week off. But I always loved the Thanksgiving week because it's 3 days long.
I think my sister's school in Nashville gets the whole week off. I don't think she's taking days off because she lands tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think she has the whole week off too. Are the schools just doing that now?
Some people.
Good for them.
Would you rather have all of Thanksgiving off and have a couple extra days in June of school? Or be off earlier in June and then only go 2 days off?
100% I'd rather be off earlier in June and pay the tax in Thanksgiving week when I'm already going to school.
There's a lot of those random Mondays as a student. I was like, I will exchange this for extra days off in the summer. Do I really need this Monday off?
Right.
I could stick through it. I'm already in the grind of school.
Exactly.
What is this Monday? Why do I need this Monday off for? Why can't I have an extra week of summer? Or why can't I have an extra week of winter break?
All
or
of
maybe
the above.
3 extra days for Thanksgiving. Or, you know what the one was a lot growing up? We will gladly trade Veterans Day or one of the middle Monday holidays for the day after Halloween to be off.
So you can have a really good time.
That's right.
On Halloween.
Drink a couple extra sodas at night.
You pesky
Eat some
kids.
candy. That's right. You meddling kids. Would have gotten away with it too.
Annie won't be here on Wednesday, so I'll ask the question I would have asked next Wednesday anyway. Did your family have any regular Thanksgiving traditions or things you did
No.
during the holiday?
No.
Not at all?
I often spent Thanksgiving with another family. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had some Thanksgivings, but they were sometimes dysfunctional and sometimes not. And yeah, we had an interesting. It was year by year. You had to play it year by year. Who's going to be where, what, when, how. You just wake up that morning and you just
be along for the
figure
ride.
it out. Yeah, you be along for the ride. Yeah. How about you guys?
When I was a kid growing up, it was a tradition. My parents had family friends, the Kruger family, that lived in Northern California. For a while, they lived in Los Gatos. For another while, they had this really nice cabin up in a mountainy area. I forget exactly where it was, but up in a mountainy area, snow and the whole thing. And every single year, which is what reminds me of the whole Monday through Wednesday thing, so what triggers it is both my parents were teachers. So they would both teach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would be in school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then there would be this whole, which we never did as a family, kind of fire drill thing like, hey, okay, we're going to come by and we're going to pick you up from school. Because normally I would ride the bus home and then walk home from there. I was one of those latchkey kids, or back to a spot where my bike was and ride my bike home. It's like, no, we're coming by with the van. We're picking you up, and then we're going to swing by your mother's school, and we're going to pick up your mom, and then we're on the road. And the earlier we can get on the road, the better, because, of course, one of the worst traffic driving days is the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's what, and we were in Long Beach. We were going north, so what does that mean? Through L.A., right? So it was always like, how early can we get out so that we don't get just completely slammed in traffic. But as a kid, for me, it was like this whole thing, so we get picked up and there's the excitement of that. And then, there's the time in the van. But then we're going to get over the Tejon Pass and we're going to have dinner at like a fast food place. Like there was a Burger King there
Yeah.
or something. So I'm going to get to have burger because we didn't usually have a lot of fast food. So I'm going to have Burger King, and then
Yeah,
we're going to be
that's
on this long old drive. And so that was just this whole thing. Is every Thanksgiving weekend we were up there, you know, and they always cooked this really elaborate dinner. You know,
I mean,
it was
that's
a lot of
fun. You look forward to that as a kid year
Yeah.
after year. And like even the Burger King moment, like, all your little, landmarks that you're going to hit on the way. And I think as a kid, that's super fun.
Yeah, and they were way more well off than we were. So it was like a really nice house, a hot tub, like all these things that we didn't have, and always enjoyed that. And then it would be Sunday driving home,
Yeah.
listening to football on the radio. That was one of those things that like
Always a
started
tradition.
probably started to put into my mind like the roots of play-by-play and that radio excitement and what it delivered was because I mean like literally every time you'd be driving home we'd be listening to the Westwood One game until it would fall out of the Northern
Westwood
California station and then like the Rams game, the LA Rams game or the Raiders game on the way home.
Yeah.
And just listening to that. And so yeah, that's what I associate with Thanksgiving was family trips to Northern California, like probably
Sounds like a blast.
10, 11 years in a row.
Something to look forward to. Now, do you guys do a similar thing? Maybe not to Northern California with James, but a similar but do you have a dinner?
We have a dinner,
there you
and like my dad will come down.
Yeah.
It's kind of been Mitzi does Thanksgiving here and cooks, and then we do Christmas up there in Long Beach.
Yeah. You split the holidays.
Yeah,
right.
between her family and my family. And of course, death has reduced both of those families over the years. And we do our own Christmas at home. So it's kind of a weird thing where we have I feel like we have 3 or 4 Christmases.
Yeah.
Which always was a little unnerving to me because Christmas for me was just like the 25th. I didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up with a Christmas Eve, a 21st, a 23rd, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, that's how we do it. Is Thanksgiving down here, Christmas up there.
We used to do the Sopranos, the French side of the family, the French Canadian side of the family.
Soprano.
On Wednesday, they would always get together the day before Thanksgiving. And as a kid, we would alternate between my mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family for Thanksgiving. And then as they got older, as my mom's dad was getting older, we were doing both because we knew it was limited Thanksgivings left with Papa Don. And so we would do both on the same day.
Yeah.
I am fortunate enough that my entire family lives in San Diego, with the exception of my aunt, uncle, and cousin who live in Colorado, but they usually come join us for Christmas every once in a while. So it's a lot easier to get from Lakeside to Casa de Oro than it is to get from San Diego to Long Beach or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the Wednesday night, especially if we were going to my mom's side of the family on Thursday, we would always go to the Wednesday night thing that my dad's side of the family would always do. It was tradition. They would have tutke, which I don't even know if they pronounce it correctly because I just looked up how to spell it, and it doesn't look like it's spelled like that, but Tourtiere. It's a French-Canadian meat pie that has cloves and stuff in it. I think it's disgusting. I do not want to eat it at all. I never eat it. And as my uncle said, my dad's brother, my Uncle Ray, he goes, there's not enough ketchup in the world for me to consume tutke. But as he's gotten older, he's starting to eat it now. So
how do you pronounce it?
tutke.
Tutke.
That's how they say it.
Okay.
It's probably wrong. I don't know. It's French Canadian. It's from Quebec, which is where the Sopranos are from.
Nice.
And it's literally just a bunch of ground beef or meat. I think I don't know what type. It might be like pork, lamb. It might be pork and beef with garlic and cloves and stuff like that. It's not very good. It comes in a full pie crust and stuff. It's just
Sounds delicious.
it's not the best. So that would be a tradition on the day before Thanksgiving, as well as Uncle Richard's. And he would go by a different name, but I don't want to say it on the radio. But Uncle Richard's cherry cake that he used to make. My grandfather's brother would make a cherry cake, which was delicious. And then we would play Aggravation. Aggravation for Money would be the Wednesday night thing. And the older
What is Aggravation?
I don't know this.
Aggravation it's a great board game that's it's old. And I
Surprised
don't
you
even think
know
they
this.
make it anymore because my
I'm
grandmother
gonna go
has
see
some
if I've
old
ever
ones.
played it.
It's a lot like the game Trouble. Have you ever played the game Trouble?
Yes. And now that I'm looking at it, it looks almost exactly like
It's
it.
very much like the game Trouble. So we'd play aggravation. It would be a couple dollar buy-in. Sometimes the cousin would try to raise the stakes to $20 or $100 buy-in, which is insane. And they would not take it easy on the younger members of the family, the kids that would
Hilarious.
want to play. They would just be like, "Yep, taking you out." Sometimes my sister would get the benefit of the doubt. She put a little cute face on, and so her little marble would not get knocked off. But that's what we would do on Wednesday nights, and then again Thursdays back and forth. This is the first year that my grandmother's not hosting Thanksgiving. We have convinced her to let us host and let us take care of all of the
Good on you.
food cooking, which we've wanted to do for a long time, just to let her relax on Thanksgiving instead of hosting a bunch of people at her house out in Lakeside. So we'll be doing that this year. I don't know if we'll be playing aggravation the night before. Hopefully my grandmother will bring it over on Thanksgiving so we can continue that tradition. I do enjoy that part. That and the cherry cake. Those are the good part. I will not be participating in eating Tootcake. I will say that.
There was a pocket of years where I just volunteered on Thanksgiving, which if you don't have anything to do, I would encourage you to do that. Just go down to a food bank, volunteer, or pass things out, or serve food, and that is a good way to spend Thanksgiving if you don't have other plans. But I have a question about your dad. I've been meaning to ask.
Okay.
We didn't talk about him and the Dodgers winning. Was he very happy?
He was
the
happy.
Dodgers winning.
He was happy.
Was he really happy, or?
I mean, I don't know. I think it was probably. I think he took it easy on me.
He knew not to
I
not to
think
celebrate so much amongst you.
That's what I would
Yeah.
say.
You don't think it'll come up at Thanksgiving again, or?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
But not in the worst way.
Got it.
Because he was,
bring
honestly,
up the
like a number of
podcast.
Dodger fans. He thought the Padres were going to win the series. He told me
sure.
that the whole time through, from the beginning to the end. He
Like a
thought
lot of Dodgers fans, yeah.
He thought the Padres were probably going to win. And he knew how, sad it was to lose that series. And then, he sent a picture of him wearing his Dodger hat when they finished off the Yankees. And, we had a couple of, short exchanges about it, but nothing too extravagant.
Okay.
I've gotten a lot, of course, at that time, too, he was doing me a favor because, the 48 to 72 hours after the Padres lost, social media was just dunk, 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 all the time.
Yeah,
I know you're a Padre fan. Super, super obnoxious. So if he was doing that at the same time, he would have been lumped in with the online trolls.
Right.
Which, wouldn't have been a great look. So I really appreciated
-50
that.
aura points for Dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. But he didn't.
Negative
He didn't.
150.
So
that's
positive
right.
150 for not doing it.
Right,
That's right.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't that bad. I get more grief the dude who's opening car doors next to me when we volunteer at St. Martin's. He's a Dodger fan, every week.
He's like,
Hey, where's your
Carter."
Dodger hat? Why don't you
Yeah.
have a Dodger hat? I'm like, yeah.
so close, buddy.
Seriously, hey, you know we won? Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's fun when your sports
know.
team was born on third base. So
Yeah.
I have had
It's a good comeback.
I've also had to have Thanksgiving Whataburger before and
that's
Buc-ee's when I was working for TCU football. That was the downside of college athletics is and as we know, just working in sports, when are sports on? Weekends and holidays.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nights, not weeknights,
Yeah.
weekends and holidays. And so Thanksgiving, when I was in college, I never got to come back. The last 2 years when I was working for the football team, 1 year I had Whataburger and we played Baylor in a awful weather game, which I know is on the topic of discussion today. I could tell you about that story of watching a game in sleet, which is not fun. And then the next year we played at Texas on Black Friday, so we traveled on Thanksgiving, and there's nothing open. So about 5 buses rolled into Buc-ee's in Temple, Texas for Thanksgiving dinner to pick up whatever you could at the gas station on the way to the hotel in Round Rock. It was a very interesting Thanksgiving, but it was kind of now you look back at it was kind of fun, the different Thanksgivings that you have had when you don't have the traditional ones.
Yeah.
So the Buc-ee's with a party of 100 of a college football team in the middle of Texas was definitely on a rememberable Thanksgiving that I have experienced.
I remember one time we did that with Gulls too. We were on the road for Thanksgiving, and they just got a Thanksgiving spread at the hotel.
Yeah,
covering the Chargers, we were on the road for Thanksgiving, or I don't know if this Thanksgiving. It was definitely for Christmas. We were on the road a few times, and
didn't they play the Cowboys once when they're in San Diego on Thanksgiving?
They probably did, but there was someone they were on the road for the holidays. In Nashville, I remember for Christmas one time, and
oh yeah, I remember that.
And there was another one, and the head of PR, Bill Johnston, would organize like a media dinner, and all the a lot of the media would come and do sort of like what you're talking about, just kind of everybody get together and celebrate with each other a little bit, which was nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, well, some holiday chitter chatter right there. It was a holiday look in Cleveland last night.
Yeah, it was.
For Steelers and Browns. That one got me thinking. We'll talk about it when we get back. Plus, the game I did watch last night at much greater length, USD. Congratulations. We talked to Quinny on Wednesday. Team delivers on Thursday night. They did it in a way that I'm kind of shocked. I mean, I don't know. I don't stay up.
Goal.
I don't stay up for SportsCenter anymore, but I feel like it should have been a top 3.
Oh yeah.
Did Brady
last
call
night.
this?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I had volleyball. Jack had soccer since it was added late, and I was already originally scheduled to do volleyball. Volleyball beat Gonzaga for the I don't even know how many times. They have not lost to Gonzaga in volleyball since 1994. I wasn't even alive yet. So that was a quick 3-game sweep, and then as I was walking out, I'll tell you what. That was probably one of the best atmospheres I have seen for USD soccer. It was loud. I know you said that some of the members of the Loyal fan group were there. You could hear the drums. They were going nuts.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was a nice little
Yeah.
home atmosphere that a lot of the USD players were not necessarily used to. So it's really cool.
We'll give you that highlight when we come back and more. As we continue forward, set up the rest of the show, too. It's a classic Friday on Annie and Elsten. We got all the big segments that you would expect, and we're going to give them all to you between here and 2 o'clock. First time out now on 97.3 The Fan. 10:22 on the Fan. Welcome back to Annie and Elsten. Rolling till 2 o'clock today. Gwen and Chris check in 2 to 6. Should have a trip inside Scrape Nation from 6 to 7 today, right? I mean, we should.
Yes.
Come on, Scrapes.
I mean, the latest promo that we heard was it's Scrape Nation time. Time for Scraby Show. Scraby Show time.
Perfect. So,
That time of year again. Scraby Show time.
The holidays are the Scraby days.
That's right.
He's like a meme now. Scraby's a meme,
Yeah.
a station meme.
He has his own merch. He has his own
He has his own merch.
names.
We don't have any merch.
But who has a name as cool as that? Scrabenation and Scrabenator, and like his sweatshirt that had, well, this what is the phrase that he has?
Well, this is just great.
Well,
or
this is
something like
just
that.
great,
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
Like, wow. We have none of
you
this.
gotta rise to that level to have that.
We have no funny
Right.
nicknames for our show. We have no cool memes. We have zero merch. And here's Scrabes. Just, putting it together. 6 to 7. An entrepreneur, a visionary. He's a regular Cal Worthington.
Man, I thought of Cal Worthington yesterday. There was something I was thinking of. Oh, I thought, isn't Cal Worthington isn't the Tyson Jake Paul fight the
Yes.
modern day
Yes.
Cal Worthington?
Yes.
Kind of.
Kind of.
You can
it's a
draw a
spectacle.
line. You can draw a line.
What?
Yeah.
Speaking of holidays in Cal Worthington, what was that famous, I think it was in Chicago, during Thanksgiving, didn't they throw turkeys out of a helicopter or something
No,
like
that's
that?
WKRP.
WKRP.
I will definitely be wearing that shirt next week. I've got
I remember
that
watching
shirt.
that in
Yeah.
class.
will
It
wear
was
it next
like
week.
disastrous promo. It was like part of our promotions.
Yeah.
Part of
it was
class for
just
the
part of
radio
comedy.
class. And they had don't do this.
The station, the kicker on that is the Adam Klug of the show, the station manager walking in at the end, just ashen faced into the newsroom and going, "With God as my witness, I thought turkeys could fly."
Yes. Just plummeting from Earth. Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
Les Nessman down on
That's
the
right.
ground, just giving the live
remember
play-by-play
watching
of the horror as the turkeys fall to their doom.
fall to their death.
That's where we're headed.
Great idea, Adam. Let's go. Listen to the fan.
70s humor, for sure. Okay, so
Was there a match game question on that?
there
Right.
could be. There very well could be. Let's start local. Let's knock this part out. I told you I was going to be excited to watch this game last night. University of San Diego hosting UC Davis. We had on head coach Brian Quinn earlier in the week. In fact, Wednesday before the Thursday night game. Torero's got, depending on your point of view, maybe a little bit job to have to even play in the first round.
Yeah.
Very difficult circumstance because they played last night and they'll play Sunday in Duke. And they have to fly now
Yeah.
to North Carolina and play 2 games in 72 hours while Duke had the whole week to rest. So, obviously huge advantage to have a bye in the playoffs. Nonetheless, last night at Torero Stadium, as Braden mentioned, great atmosphere, big crowd. As he told you earlier in the week, they only sell one side of the field. So everyone's on that near side of the field at Torero Stadium. Which meant the supporters couldn't be out in 109, but they were in the corner, ramming the drums, singing the songs. And UC Davis controlled things for the first 25, 30 minutes of the game. Keeper for the Toreros made a couple of nice saves. There were a couple of close calls, but it was pretty much Aggies the first half hour. Toreros started to get a grip on the game, get their foot on the game. Second part of the first half, it was scoreless. And then, if I'm right, it was early. It was either late first half or early second half. I think it was early second half, this goal that we're about to play for you. And I'll see it as soon as it pops up on the screen. But one of the 2 key strikers for the Toreros, Cesar Bahena, Escondido kid. And we saw an insane college soccer goal like a month ago. This isn't quite to that level. That one was like a buzzer beater from beyond midfield. But this is a steal pretty much at midfield and Bahena in no way in an aggressive striking position. In fact, he's got a defender right on him, but he spots the keeper at least just a couple feet off the line, and then puts in one of the most perfectly placed shots you could ever see. You're going to hear a screaming on the call if you're just listening on the radio. So let me just tell you, right-footed, curling shot, 36th minute. There you go, late first half. Curling shot, right-footed, that goes into the upper left corner of the net, unguardable, even for a keeper who gets back to the line. Let's roll it with Jack Cronin on ESPN+.
In either half.
This skips ahead for Bahena. He's got a chance here on the run. Bahena looks up and fires. He's going deep. It's in! Mateo strike first! Cesar Bahena puts him up 1-0.
The end zone view.
Great look at it. Just
bang.
100% perfectly placed. And even if the keeper is on his line with his legs under him, I don't know if he can make this save. But it being a foot off the line, no chance. Incredible work.
So cool for Cesar Bahena. And you see all his teammates obviously jump up and celebrate with him. And really thrilling. A fun game.
Local product out of Escondido High School.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a lot of San Diego kids on this team. That's one of them. So big for his hometown club to advance to the next round. They'll be playing in North Carolina to take on Duke.
Yeah.
Team that they have already played this year.
You said that was Monday?
That will be Sunday.
It'll be Sunday. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, literally a plane today.
Turnaround, yep.
Practice tomorrow and
then 10
go.
a.m. Yeah, 10 a.m. Sunday. Then.
It's even worse. I mean,
oh yeah, because it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, so
right.
Yeah.
So middle. So in other words, your body still thinks it's 10, but it's 1. They're ready to roll. Whatever. Who knows what weather you're getting in North Carolina this time of year? It could be anything.
Maybe this is like the wild card round for baseball, where though it can be good to continue playing, not sit a week.
Well, the thing is, it's soccer, so it's not football. Yeah. It's football. It's not football. So the great thing about that is a team that doesn't have the legs or the talent necessarily of the other team can have a strategy, could get a lucky goal, kind of like they just got. Now, it's not lucky. It was incredible skill, but, still a goal, an unexpected goal, a great defensive play, and wind up even at zeros and go to penalties and win on penalties. Like there's ways to spring upsets in soccer a lot more than there is in a basketball game or a football game. Mm-hmm. So, who knows? Best of luck to Quinny. But, hey, they've been knocking on that door to get a tournament win. Now they've got a tournament win.
Yeah, congratulations.
Now let's see if they can get 2. Program continues to grow, arrow pointing up. Exciting stuff. I don't want to burn a good topic late in a segment. So let's just knock out a couple of the other things that are happening in college this weekend because, as always, a Friday, just like a Monday on Annie and Elsten, has a lot of trying to catch all the different pockets of the sports world and review it. Today we're trying to catch all the little pockets of the sports world and preview it. So San Diego State football program still going. It's at Utah State Saturday afternoon, 12:30 kickoff for Coach Sean Lewis. Now we're down to the whole, win 2 games so you can show improvement.
Hit or the over on wins.
Yeah, or
4.5.
At least win a game and get back to the same record as last year. You don't want to lose twice at the end and actually take a 1-game step back in your first season. But ultimately, does it even matter? I mean, it's not a good program right now. They're trying to get it right. The NIL transfer window is coming up. Their best players are probably going to get poached. And, how do they regroup for year 2? I have a real hard time putting anything on Sean Lewis. Obviously, he hasn't put the offense out on the field that everyone was hoping. That was what all the hype was about. The offense has factually not been good for San Diego State as opposed to being improved. But I feel like they're in such an untenable situation structurally that I have a really hard time pinning blame on anyone other than just the whole idea that we're trying. It's it's pretty hard to win right now at San Diego State.
Well, from a football standpoint, just like, you're trying to get young guys an opportunity to play. You're trying to get, Danny O'Neal some more reps. You're trying to develop some of these young guys, which is very difficult to do in the NIL era, like you mentioned. But, there's still a lot to play for a lot of these guys that might be having an opportunity to show what they got for next year. So always something to play for. We'll see what they are put together. I'm curious to see what Sean Lewis does with a full recruiting cycle, because he was hired a little bit late and hasn't really had a full recruiting cycle yet. See what he can put together and bring in. I know a couple of players throughout the country have already scheduled some visits that have already entered the transfer portal to San Diego State, and got to be able to continue to look like you're improving each and every game that you can.
Yeah, I think he just needs more time. I don't know. Like you said, the challenges are never going to go away in terms of what they're up against with NIL and with the transfer portal and with just what the program is up against in college football. But I think he also just needs more time and to expect everything to go perfectly that first season. Yeah. And when you have a new quarterback, new guys, I think that's asking a lot. So giving him a full offseason, a full ability to get into year 2 with the program and the team that hopefully will come back knowing what he wants and what is expected from those players, I think will be really helpful for them.
Something to build on for next year, especially for the guys that are coming back. I mean, maybe Trey White's probably the only guy that might be leaving. I mean, I can't imagine a lot of these guys are leaving, because the thing is too, with everybody that might leave, there are other players that aren't getting playing time at Power 4 schools that might be bouncing back to San Diego State.
Sure.
And we've seen a lot of schools be able to acquire players like that in a lot of different sports that, maybe it's not just money. And maybe I got to go find a place to play so I can make that new NIL contract. So from a positive standpoint, those are the type of players that San Diego State could put together and see what they got next year. But again, a full recruiting cycle for a head coach that gets it and understands the new makeup of college athletics. I think this will be very interesting to see. I think that's, next year will be a nice really year to really evaluate what the direction of this program is going.
Lastly, shout out, congrats to Eric Olin's UCSD men's basketball team. They are playing. Remember, this is their first year of being Division I eligible, being a fully grown D1 program, all the way up from when I was in that school, D3. No scholarships, nothing at all. Playing Occidental and Pomona Pitzer.
Fighting Ben Higgins.
Oh yeah, literally, my school went against Ben's school. When we were in college.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, now fully grown D1, they're playing in a Daytona Beach tournament called the Boardwalk Battle. Oh. And yesterday they won their first Boardwalk Battle. They beat LaSalle, which came in at 4-0. And UCSD got the win. So Triton's now 3-2. They play James Madison later today at 12:30. So we'll maybe even have, most of a score by the end of today's show. But let's see how the Tritons do on the East Coast, trying to build up a little Ken Palm or RPI or whatever it is.
Definitely want the Ken Palm. Want the Ken Palm high. San Diego's Ken Palm not very high at 292. They will host Southern Utah and Idaho for a tournament this weekend. So the Toreros will play Southern Utah tonight at 7. And then Southern Utah will play Idaho tomorrow at the Jenny Craig Pavilion. And then on Sunday, USD will play Idaho at 2 o'clock. So stable of games this weekend. If you're a basketball fan, want to go watch some college basketball, there's 3 games here this weekend.
Yeah, if you show up to the Southern Utah-Idaho game tomorrow and take a picture of yourself there and send it to us, we will get you the first Annie and Elsten T-shirt whenever it's made. But you'll get the first one before any of us.
Hey, don't challenge Bernie Wilson for a good time,
He could be the one.
He is the resident vandal.
He could be the
vandals are in
one.
town. Maybe he's covering it for the AP.
Right.
Never
that'd
know.
Be a laugh if he was like, "Hey, I'll take this assignment."
He would never do that. He would
Southern Utah,
absolutely-
Idaho, morning Saturday college basketball. What could be
like,
better?
Hey, this weekend in college basketball really starts Feast Week, and Feast Week's got a lot of great tournaments
No, it
going into
does.
next
It
week,
does.
including the big one that San Diego State is playing in.
It
Vegas.
does.
No doubt. So there's some of the college action coming your way. When we come back, we'll turn our eye to the NFL action coming up with Braden's football segment and a weekend National Football League preview. Plus, at 11 a.m., I never really did set up the show. At 11 a.m., Best of Padres returns, our second installment going through all the great moments of the 2024 San Diego Padres season. First time out last week, we did the first 15 games. We're going to do the next 15 games or so. It's actually 16 because there was a 4-game series in there. But game 16 to 31. And sure enough, Andy, once again, went through this tranche blind, didn't know for sure, and immediately found 4 games that I remembered as really important games during the Padres season. Overall, we'll bring you all those highlights coming up in the 11 a.m. hour. Later, Christian Philly Filliman returns to the show. Another episode of MLS 101 as we take a look at this weekend's MLS semifinals. MLS Cup semifinals will take place single elimination Saturday and Sunday, including LAFC. 12 o'clock Sports Fix at the midpoint of the show. Weekend preview edition. We'll play Fast Money at 12:45 to try and get you out to Vegas. And Crossing Streams with Media Melanie coming up at 1:20. Today, Ask Us Anything to wrap up the show. That's your roadmap. We're back with Braden's football segment right after this. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, everybody. It's Annie and Elsten here with you. 10:44 is the time as we roll to 2 o'clock. Best of Padres. Part 2 coming up in our next segment. Right now, let's get you ready for the NFL weekend that will be. I know that the weekend ends, and I mean, we'll have a show for it Monday with the Har Bowl. So that's in the future. What's going on this weekend? Braden lets us know on Braden's football segment.
What a fun night last night, though. Huh?
In the snow.
In the snow.
It was fun.
With the ending the way it was.
With Jameis Winston and all the memes.
Yes.
Gotta love Jameis Winston. I mean, did you guys catch
And George Pickens and
Yeah, George Pickens getting into a fight on a Hail Mary
yes.
instead of trying to catch the ball?
Yes.
That was hilarious.
He's like, and then afterwards he's like, the snow,
Yeah.
the conditions.
Some poor photog was in the middle of that fight on accident.
Yeah.
Guy ran Pickens into the photog and the wall over there in the front of the dog pound. The best part of that entire game last night was Jameis Winston late in the game on 4th and 2 trying to do a hard count. And he goes, "Someone please jump off sides." Damn. Says it on the mic.
Help
You can
me
hear it on the
out.
crowd mic. Jameis Winston is just nonstop
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
So that was great. I thought the game was going to be lousy, but the 2-8 Browns beat the 8-2 Steelers last night, 24-19. Games coming up on Sunday. Got a good one in Chicago. The Vikings at the Bears. Vikings are 8-4 on grass this year under Coach Kevin O'Connell since the start of the 2022 season,
What
including
kind of grass?
2-0 at Soldier Field. Soldier Field has the Bermuda. That's a decided departure from the franchise history after it moved indoors to the Metrodome in 1982 and later at US Bank Stadium in 2016. During those 4 decades, the team had a .402 winning percentage on grass and .586 on artificial surfaces. You think it's funny, but the Cowboys don't play well on grass ever, and that's like a common phenomenon that they can't play on grass. Vikings apparently can get the job done.
We know where the grass grows.
That's
in
right.
Texas.
So we just don't know how to play on it. Minnesota's favored by 3.5 against the Chicago Bears. Who do you guys like?
Minnesota.
Wow. And he's going against her beloved
I
Chicago
know.
Bears.
Sorry.
I know.
Sorry. It's
And-
not that I don't love my Bears. It's just that I don't think they're going to win.
I mean, if the Bears could kick field goals without them being blocked,
Yeah.
they could
That's
be a
right.
much better team.
Caleb Williams has led the team to 2 game-winning drives in which they've lost both games.
Okay, I'm going to go the other way because this is not as much about Chicago, although the last 2 games Chicago's been good enough to win, right? It's about where I feel Minnesota is starting to wobble.
Okay.
Sam Darnold
Okay.
is not playing very well, and he was really good early. And it was kind of like, oh, no problem. We got Sam Darnold, no problem. No, it's a problem if Sam Darnold is starting as your quarterback, and I feel like that's going to continue. So that's my bold pick is Darnold throws picks, and as such, at least the points come in on this game.
Stat to know, Sam Darnold has had multiple turnovers in 4 games this season. Minnesota is undefeated in those games.
So they're due.
They're 2 to lose.
Yeah, that's unlikely.
It's also maybe it's unlikely for him to have multiple turnovers. Maybe he's due to have a clean game in which they lose. Clean game in which they lose.
That's fine for me either way.
Buy or sell, Bears quarterback Caleb Williams will throw 2 picks.
I buy it.
Wow,
I
she is jumping off the bandwagon.
She's completely
I'm
off
not
the
gone
wagon.
full
firmly on the
Detroit Lion.
bandwagon.
She has been. She's gone full Detroit Lion.
I don't think he's got a good offensive line now.
Oh,
I'm
now
not
it's not
sure
good.
about right. I'm not
Oh,
sure
now
about
it's not
all,
a good
all
O-line.
I don't think his coordinator uses him well sometimes. So
See, we didn't discover that Annie was queen of eyewash at the point of the season when we were trying to get rid of the Bears off the eliminator. But now I understand. I mean, she knew that was going to be utter chaos and drama,
Caleb's
and that's why
locking
that was
in.
her favorite team.
Sell. Caleb's locking in.
All right. Speaking of
like
our beloved Lions, they're 9-1. They're in Indianapolis to take on the Colts. One strategy for beating a team with a high-powered offense like the Lions is the time of possession battle, thereby limiting the opponent's possessions. But Colts haven't proven they could do this all year. So the Colts rank 31st in time of possession at 26:40 per game. That has been detrimental to their defense because that unit has played too many snaps. Indianapolis is second in the league in defensive snaps, averaging 66.9 per game. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Maybe that's why Detroit's favored by 7. I'll actually take Detroit -7.
the Lions are going to win.
Lions minus
They've
7,
covered
minus
some
11, minus
serious-
13. Give me the Lions.
They've covered some serious spreads this
Lions
year.
are just on one.
The Lions are roaring.
Lions have had 4 games this season with more touchdowns than incompletions.
Roar, Lions, roar.
That's the most such games in a season by any team since 1933.
On the road to victory.
Bold prediction, the 2 teams will have more combined play-action snaps in any game this season.
I don't know.
Who cares?
Get out of here with that.
That's terrible.
If that one guy that sings the Colts song sings a really good
This
song
is
this
our
week,
Colts.
that's
We're
it.
going to have
This
to
is
find
our
it.
Then
team.
I think that the Colts have a chance.
If he
I
sings
do.
the national anthem, they win.
No. He just sings outside. He has a good Lions catchphrase.
If he sings the national anthem in Indianapolis, they
Okay,
win.
Fine.
I don't think
the
it's
horses tame the lions. We love you.
cringe. Patriots at the Dolphins. Anybody besides Ella watching this game?
Hell no.
Miami's
the
favored.
Patriots are 3-8.
Miami's favored by 7.5.
Yeah, they'll probably take care of business.
Yeah, I think so too.
Dolphins have a 14% chance of making the playoffs, according to ESPN Analytics. Those chances increased to 18% with a win and dropped to 5% with a loss.
Do you remember the last 2 weeks of the 2023 Padres season? We were
True.
dealing with numbers like that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're 18%, but if we win, we're up to 23.
That's right. That's how it works.
Bold prediction: Tyreek Hill will catch a pass of at least 30 yards.
Is that bold?
Is that
in the
bold?
air?
I think so.
30
yes.
yards in the air.
Well,
Sure.
yeah.
It's got to go 30 yards in the air before. he
Okay.
That's fine.
As
I
opposed to
still
the
think he'll
5-yard
do
one,
it.
he turns into 30?
Yeah.
Yes, correct. I'll buy it.
Yeah, sure. Bye.
Tyreek Hill will catch some bombs. Buccaneers at Giants. Giants are going to be with Tommy Cutlets. Tommy DeVito's the Giants starting quarterback in place of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has asked for his release, in which he will get it.
Yes,
He
the
will
Giants
clear-
have agreed to cut Daniel Jones.
He will clear waivers, which means nobody's going to pay for his contract. So he will be a free agent.
Well, maybe
I
the
would
Chargers
love-
can get him as a backup.
I think the Cowboys should sign him just for the Giants-Cowboys Thanksgiving game to
Oh,
give
that'd
a
be
little
hilarious.
excitement on Thanksgiving
Yes.
Thursday.
Danny Dimes.
But he's got to worry about the Bucks first. DeVito does. Bucks are favored by 6 in New York.
I'm going with the DeVito era.
Wow.
I'm going with Tommy DeVito.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets
Get
is
yourself a chicken
going to have
cutlet
himself
sandwich.
a magical first game. Either that or he's going to be completely
Right?
outplayed.
I can see him having a good game and them still losing. I mean, the Bucks are still beat up.
Okay, I'm building toward an eventual pick of Tampa Bay over the Chargers in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to say Tampa on the road. And I'm going to say dead cat bounce for Tommy Cutlets. Like he throws one pass and then it's just not good.
Buccaneers will get a sack out of Yaya Diaby.
Yes,
Sure.
of course.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they might get 2.
Cowboys at Commanders. Commanders by 10.
Cowboys at Commanders?
Yes. Commanders by 10.
Yeah, go Commanders.
Cowboys keep it close.
Commanders have been having
bad weather,
themselves.
maybe.
I don't know that the Commanders can keep
What's
it
the
up all
weather like?
season, but
Yeah, well,
I think they keep it up for
Craig,
this game.
the game's on grass. Cowboys can't win on grass.
Cowboys can't win on.
They
we
finally
know
won
where
on
the
grass when they
grew.
won in Pittsburgh.
I
but
told
they,
you in Texas we do not like that grass.
They don't win on grass.
You shouldn't play on grass.
I'll take the Commanders minus 10. Bold
Okay.
prediction, the Commanders, including the running backs and Daniels, will combine to rush for 200 yards.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That game's going to be an ass kicking. Chiefs at Panthers.
Woo-wee!
I'll take the Chiefs.
I'll take the Chiefs,
I'm
too.
not even going to waste my time.
Right.
Chiefs
this
are going
is-
to pummel them. This is the get back
Right.
on. They had to lose to reset how crappy they were playing.
Titans at
This will be their reset
Titans
game.
at Texans tickle anybody's fancy?
Titans at Texans.
Yeah,
Texans
the Texans
favored by
are gonna,
7.5.
are gonna win this. Yes.
Yes, they are. We're
Yeah,
moving
I
on.
think so too.
We're on to Cincinnati.
We're on to
Just
Cincinnati.
kidding. Broncos at Raiders. Anybody
We're
care?
on to
Broncos
Oakland.
I'm
favored
gonna go
by
Broncos
6.
on this one.
Yeah, the Raiders are just not in a good way.
No.
Niners at Packers. Decent.
Yeah.
Green Bay's by 2. Kittle said he'll play.
Niners are still banged up, even with McCaffrey back.
Yes, they are. They are super banged up.
So I'm gonna go Packers.
Packers are favored by 2.
Yeah.
Jordan Love's a little banged up too.
That's true.
If the Niners lose this game, I mean, like their window this season is really narrowing. I mean, they'd still only be like 2 games out in their division, but
If they lose and everybody
Yeah.
else wins,
yeah, but at some point they gotta click up if
They
they're
gotta
gonna
get in gear.
Yeah, if they're gonna be the team they want to be. I'm gonna say it'll happen today or on Sunday. I'll go San Francisco.
Packers are 5-0 against teams with records of 500 or worse.
So in other words, you're telling me the Packers will win.
They're 2-3 against teams with winning records. Well, if they lose, then the Niners have a winning record.
Oh, well, there you go. It's
There
right
you
on the
go.
edge.
Right on the edge. Razor thin. George Kittle have 90-plus receiving yards. Remember, he's banged up. He does say he's going to play.
Sell.
Yeah, I saw that.
If he
too.
doesn't get it, who knows? Cardinals at Seahawks. This is for first place.
Yes, it is.
Cardinals by
Wow.
1 in Seattle. That's pretty impressive. I'll take the Seahawks.
I will absolutely take Seattle.
I'm gonna go with good old Arizona.
All right. Kyler Murray fan over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kyler Murray and AZ and isn't isn't their offensive line, isn't the Seahawks offensive line not great? And
I wouldn't say they're very good. but
Yeah.
yeah. Last game, Sunday Night Football is Eagles at the LA Rams. Eagles by 2.5.
Eagles.
Rams are on a roll. Rams.
I got the
Okay,
Rams.
fine.
I got the Rams too. I'm going to see some chaos right now in the,
Get to the-
NFC West.
Last game, Braden.
That was the last game. It was
No.
Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Sunday
We're
football.
only
Fine.
talking about Sunday.
We'll talk about Monday on
Mondays
Monday.
Indeed.
That's right.
And when we come back, some of the big highlights from games 16 to 31 of the Padres season, including the Mr. Relevant game, all in our next hour. Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of the program. Friday edition of the Annie and Elsten Get Together. Start with a quick reminder that baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com, get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Okay, we are your home for Padres baseball. And 2024, despite its end, and I'm thankful not to have all the playoff essentialists that we had in our chat yesterday telling us for 4 hours that if you don't win the championship, it's just a horrible season and a waste of time.
They might come back.
Oh, I'm surely they might. Now that I've mentioned them, maybe they will emerge like bad pennies.
Please join us.
Turning up
on Friday. Yes.
But there's no question. There's no question. And when you look back at it, it's even more stark than ever that the 2024 Padres regular season was filled with memorable moments, affirming games, like some of the best wins that the Padres have had in years and years. It was just everywhere you looked, you found these really great wins and wins that tell a story. So over the course of a dozen or more segments here, between now and spring training, here on Annie and Elsten in the 11 a.m. hour, which is our Padres deep dive hour during the season, we're doing what's called Padres Best Of, where we're finding those great moments, bringing them back to you, utilizing what we have that no one else has, which is Jesse and Tony's calls from those games, and using it to kind of remember the storylines, because there's so many storylines in a baseball season. And some of them you practically forget because you just remember the ones at the end of the season. So that's what we got for you today. Last week we did games 1 through 15, starting in Seoul and working our way forward, where the Padres at the end of it were 7-8, but had the huge comeback win over Chicago, where they were 8-0 down and came back to win 9-8. Today's tour begins with game number 16. First game of a 3-game weekend series at Dodger Stadium against the Los Angeles Dodgers. April 12th, 2024 is how we get things started. You all locked in on your side there, Braden? All right. Homerific start to this game. You'll remember this one, Annie, once we start getting into it. This game was just filled with long balls. At the beginning of the game, the Padres got the first one, Manny Machado, in the first inning.
Yamamoto will deal, and the first pitch curveball hit in the air to deep left field. Taylor's going back. He's going to watch. It's going to go. 2-run homer, Manny Machado. He turned around, looked at the Dodger dugout, may have had something to say, and a first inning blast for Manny. Padres jump in front 2-0.
Yama meatball.
Yeah, set the tone.
Second time we'd faced him, second time we'd nicked him in the first inning. Shohei Ohtani homered in the bottom of the inning off Michael King. Ha-Sung Kim homered off Yama Meatball in the second inning. But then Max Muncy homered for the Dodgers, and then Mookie Betts hit a 3-run homer for the Dodgers, and then Teoscar Hernandez hit a 2-run homer for the Dodgers. All of this off of Michael King, who was also burned with some unearned runs along the way. But he had served up 7 after 3, giving L.A. a 7-3 lead. Now, one thing that really became part of Mike Shilt's managerial identity, but especially early in the season, his starting pitcher would go out there and sometimes really struggle at the start of an outing. And instead of giving him the quick hook, get out of here, see you later, we're going to bring in the long reliever and maybe, pull the plug on the game, he would say to his starter, let's get out there, and Niebla as well, right? Settle things down. We need more length. Let's keep going. And that's what happened in this game. Michael King, who had given up 7 runs in 3 innings, pitched a shutout 4th, pitched a shutout 5th. And I think more often than not, Annie, starters for the Padres rewarded Schilt when you're down 3-0, you're down 4-0, but stay out there. I think for the most part, those worked out for him during the year.
Yeah, a lot of times they settled in and they were able to get through 5 or 6 innings. And that was a time, too, remember, the bullpen was squeaky. There wasn't a lot of knowledge yet as to how the bullpen was going to fare in each of these games. And so sometimes it would be very good. Sometimes it wouldn't be so good. So I think Mike Schilt had to, kind of be strategic about it. And Ruben Niebla, I think, as well, wanted his pitchers to know, look, we've got trust in you. We know you've got to get this figured out. For a guy like Michael King, especially making the move from the bullpen to the rotation. Hey, we believe in you. Like, let's work through it, and we'll figure out what we need to work on for the next start. But ultimately, yeah, I think that did end up working out for them.
So King gets through 5. Padres start to rally back. Jake Cronenworth hits a solo homer in the 6th, makes it a 7-4 game. Steven Kolick pitches a shutout inning. Yuki Matsui pitches a shutout inning.
Hey.
And San Diego rallies for 3 runs in the 7th, tying things up courtesy of Fernando.
2-0 to Fernando Tatis Jr. The pitch is hit in the air to left center field. Pretty well struck. Taylor's back into the gap. He looks up. It's going to go! 2-run homer, Fernando Tatis Jr. And the Pods have come all the way back to tie it 7-7 in the 7th.
This was the Friday of the same week that on Monday he had hit the go-ahead homer against the Cubs. So
Yes.
a great week for Fernando.
Fernando loves Dodger Stadium.
Yes, he does.
And loves to put the exclamation point on a game there. Hey, that was also the beginning of a lot of really good comebacks. Not maybe their first one, but that was the start of seeing this team come back over and over again.
A road edition, right? Because
Yeah.
they had the big comeback at home against the Cubs earlier in the week, but here's down 7-3 against the Dodgers. Feels like a much different thing. Now it's 7-7. Again, as Annie said, that early season Padres bullpen was like, whoo-wee. Wandy Peralta pitching the 8th and 9th inning. Tom Cosgrove coming in with runners on and getting out of a jam against the Dodgers. It feels impossible to think in retrospect, but it was. Score is still 7-7 through 9. Then in the 10th inning, Padres don't score, but somehow Enyel De Los Santos came in the game and didn't give up a homer. And in fact, did get into a little trouble, but Robert Suarez bailed him out. Came in, got the last out of the 10th. We get to the 11th, and it's the first. It's a modest version, but it's the first episode of Merrill Madness. As in the 11th, young Jackson Merrill comes up with his first late inning big hit of the year.
The left-hander set and ready. A look back at Azokar. Now the pitch, and Merrill swings, hits it hard through the left side and a base hit. Azokar's rounding third. He's going to come in and score. And with 2 strikes, Jackson Merrill, an opposite field single to put the Padres in front. It's 8-7 in the 11th.
Rumble, young man, rumble.
One of 3 hits for Jackson that day.
Love it. Hey, when you're a rookie and you're able to play in a difficult environment such as Dodger Stadium and in a big game that means a lot to both teams, pretty good there for Jackson Merrill.
Robert Suarez gets through the bottom of the 11th, even with the Manfred man on second base. He gets Chris Taylor, Miguel Rojas, and Mookie Betts in order, and the Padres clinch a dramatic 8-7 win at Dodger Stadium. That's our 5th entry of the year already into Best of 2024. We've got one more for this segment, and we're staying in the very same series. And now we're really going to start pulling on your memory strings here for 2024. We're going to Game 18, April 14th, Sunday Night Baseball at Dodger Stadium, Padres and L.A. A reminder about the night before. Game 17 on Saturday started with a 2-hour, 20-minute rain delay. It came out with Gavin Stone against Matt Waldron. Matt Waldron actually pitched very well. He pitched into the 6th inning, allowed just 1 run for San Diego. But Gavin Stone pitched a perfect game into the 6th inning. However, the benches cleared in the 5th inning when Jurickson Profar took a cutter inside, took exception to it, and then Will Smith had words for Profar. And the two of them jawed at each other, and the benches came out. After the game, Smith said he thought the whole thing was stupid and that Profar wasn't that relevant. He didn't mean to the league. He meant to the situation because Stone was pitching a perfect game. But nonetheless, it was taken as Jurickson Profar is irrelevant to L.A. Okay. With that as your pretext, on to Sunday Night Baseball. Yu Darvish battling with James Paxton. You might remember this was the game that James Paxton walked everyone. Walked 8 Padres in 5 innings, but they couldn't really square him up. The game was tied at 3 going into the 7th inning. And in that 7th inning, Xander Bogaerts led off with a walk. Fernando Tatis Jr. singled. Jake Cronenworth walked to load the bases. Manny Machado popped out. Bases loaded, 1 out. Up stepped Jurickson Profar.
Jurickson swings, hits it in the air to deep center field. Outman's racing back, straight back, still going back at the wall, hits off the fence and rolls away. Bogaerts has scored. Tatis on his way. Cronenworth being waved. Profar stops it second with a 3-run double, and the Padres lead it 6-3.
So much for being irrelevant in this ball game.
There it is.
I mean, this was the start of the T-shirts.
Yep.
With Jurickson with the hard hands. It said Mr. Irrelevant. I remember he walked into the clubhouse one afternoon and there was a Emmy statue in his locker that said Mr. Irrelevant in cursive. That he was. I was like, who gave you that? And he's like, I have no idea. It just happened to be here in my locker. It really, honestly, for this team, as we talk about bulletin board material and a long baseball season where you have to find things sometimes to sort of, keep you going and motivate you a little bit. It was that external motivation of just, hey, like, okay, it's on, let's rally behind him. And that was a big theme of the rest of the season for Jurickson Profar, who, by the way, never wanted to talk about it, like never really wanted that spotlight on him. But everybody else obviously really enjoyed what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the Profar All-Star origin story is this weekend.
Yeah.
He hadn't done anything particularly great. He didn't get off to a bad start to the season. He had already moved up the lineup because he started the year in the bottom part of the lineup, or like hitting 5th or 6th. He was hitting below Ha-Seong Kim. Do you remember that? Ha-Seong Kim was hitting 5th to start the season for San Diego.
And that was that edge from Jurickson that we all know and love and that we started to see part of again. And for the Padres too, and for this moment, like at that point, it was kind of lopsided, I believe, where the Padres were winning this series in terms of the season series against the Dodgers. They had split in Korea, right?
It was 2-2 going into this game.
2-2, okay. And then they got out of that with the series win in LA.
Yep.
So, you were having that kind of contested battle back and forth. And so those were some fun series and really, I mean, set the foundation for what was going to be a huge year for Jurickson Profar. And Will Smith asked about it for the entire rest of the season and was like, look, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not relevant to the game of baseball, or he just wasn't relevant to this situation, as Craig said. But that's what happens when you walk into some bulletin board material, whether you like it or not. So
Jurickson's now Mr. Relevant.
Yes.
And he'll always have that Mr. Relevant. And 20 years from now, there'll be a fun interview where you talk about Mr. Relevant. So this game 18 of the 2024 season, is part of Padres lore now. It won't be the biggest part of Padres lore, but it's one of those games. It's one of those games that we'll talk about years and years and years from now. Remember Mr. Relevant? Remember that 3-run double on Sunday Night Baseball, ball off the wall? Will Smith has to watch as Profar's rounding the bases. Just incredible stuff. All right, when we come back after this quick timeout, part 2 of Best of Padres 2024. The road trip continued for San Diego. After taking 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, the Padres went on to play Milwaukee and later Colorado. And our focus is going to turn a little bit from the offense to the mound when we continue with Padres Best Of. This is Andy and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So Kendrick just dropped a new album. Just downloaded it onto my phone. Thank you,
Well-
Apple Unlimited. I can just do that.
One of the titles of the song is
Yeah.
Dodger Blue.
Yeah. So I just tried to start playing it because I had to ask myself a tough question during the break. Like, do I have to hate Kendrick now? Because he's my favorite
He's
pretty
from
much
LA.
rapper. And I know he's from
Yeah.
LA.
But-
And he wears a Dodger hat in a lot of his videos, and that's fine. We know he's not like really a Dodger fan. You know what I mean? Like,
I did look up the lyrics, and I don't see the actual words Dodgers in the lyrics. Just
Okay,
the
good.
title of the song is called Dodger
Cool.
Blue. It's like more about don't say you hate LA.
Yeah, that's the part what I was just listening to. Was,
Yeah.
Don't say you hate L.A., but you never go past the 10.
Right.
You know, don't say you hate L.A., but you live in L.A.
It's more about it.
That.
It's like a little love song, well, in Kendrick's way, to L.A.
Maybe they'll just start playing it at the end of Dodger games.
They probably will.
Instead of I Love L.A.
They will, or someone will have it as a walk-up song, no doubt about it.
It's got a good beat. Actually, that song does have a good beat. Yeah,
yes.
Kendrick always has a good beat. But, new Kendrick album out.
So.
I don't know. Does it have Not Like Us on it? Let me go see.
Yeah, it's a surprise new album.
It does not have Not Like Us on it. Doesn't have any of the beef songs, Euphoria or Kendrick's amazing.
He's keeping you on your toes, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Drake right now is just in a dark room listening to this, just sweating,
yes.
going, "Oh no, did he do me again?"
He's like, is my name in any of these lyrics?
Literally, he's just fever pouring through this thing, going, "Am I in it? Am I in it? No, please don't tell me I'm in it. I don't want to do this again. I lost so bad last time. Oh my god." Okay, so just something for you to let you know. I know what I'm listening to this weekend now. Guaranteed.
Dodger Blue over and over and over?
Just over and over and over, just to let it just sink in. Yeah, you're right, Tyler. He's doing the Super Bowl halftime show. Kendrick is. I mean, come on. Kendrick Lamar is one of the great.
No, he is. And
one
listen,
of the
you can, the album, like I said, the song actually, I don't think even mentions the Dodgers. It's just the title. So, but no, he's phenomenal.
All right, let's continue now with Best of Padres 2024, Chapter 2, Part 2. Today we're going through games 16 through 31 in the Padres season. We went through two great games, numbers 16 and 18, at Dodger Stadium. The Padres proceeded from L.A. to Milwaukee, where they won back-to-back well-pitched games 7-3 and 6-3 behind Joe Musgrove, who had one of those, semi-wobbly 6 innings, 7 hits, but didn't really walk anybody, 3-run outings. And then Dylan Cease was really sharp on the mound for 6 innings, walked 5 guys, but struck out 7. Padres, having won those, were 4-1 on their road trip and were a season-best 3 games over 500 at 11-8. So you might wonder why the next game on our rundown is actually our first Padres loss on the best of rundown. It's game 21st, April 17th. Game 21, April 17th. But
close enough.
American Family Field, the getaway game between the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Diego Padres. And the reason why we are highlighting this game is because this was the Michael King breakout game. To this point, Michael King had struggled in the starting rotation for the Padres, and pretty badly. He had pitched to a 4.2 ERA, but that was deceptive. He was giving up close to 6 runs a game.
And a lot of home runs, right?
A lot of home runs. And he had already, in just 4 starts, had a 7-walk game where he couldn't protect a 12-0 lead and had to come out, and a 4 home run allowed game at Dodger Stadium in just 3 innings, the game we talked about in the first game of this recap. So at this point, the whole Soto trade, King's going to be a big stalwart in the rotation, it really looked like a shaky proposition at this moment in time. Spoiler alert, he'd go on to be the 7th best pitcher in the National League based on Cy Young.
You didn't know the brilliance of Kyle Higashioka at that point.
You didn't know any of it.
Right.
But we started to find out on April 17th because locked in a pitcher's duel with Milwaukee's Bryce Wilson, who randomly pitched great on this day, King had a perfect first inning, walked 2 in the second inning, but got a double play ball, so he was able to work his way out of it. Then he went 1, 2, 3 through the 3rd inning, the 4th inning, the 5th inning. And in the 6th inning, he capped another perfect frame with his 8th strikeout of the game.
Here's the pitch. Kim goes down, reaches for it, pokes it over the head of the first baseman Montero and down the right field line. Bogarts has scored. Tatis on his way. Kim into second base with a 2-run double, and the Padres have a 2-0 lead here in the first.
That was the other game.
Oh, wait.
That's the next game.
Mike King is dialed in right now.
Next pitch, strike 3 call. Got him. Strikeout number 8 for Michael King. The Brewers have had 2 base runners on so far today, both of them by the walk.
little Bob Scanlon.
Yeah, Scanlon the
nice
booth.
to hear everybody. Jesse, Tony, Bob.
Right? Get all the sounds of the season. So that strikeout ended 6 no-hit innings for Michael King. For the first time, we saw the 2 breaking pitches, right? The slider cutting away from right-handers, the 2-seamer biting back across the plate, the changeup diving down, and the 4-seam fastball at the top of the zone, the mix that made Michael King such a dominant pitcher in the year. He got 2 more outs in the 7th inning, still in a 0-0 game, then gave up a single to Willy Adames. That ended the no-hitter, but he got right out of the frame. Still 0-0, though. Going to the 8th. In the top of the 8th, Kyle Higashioka leads off with a triple and stays there. Padres offense strands Higgy at third with nobody out. Bottom of the 8th, Bryce Terang singles with 1 out. Steals second base off King and Higgy. King strikes out Jackson Churio, 2 away in the inning. Out of the dugout pops Mike Schilt. Another one of those trends, and the second time we've talked about it today. Schilt taking out a guy with 2 outs in the inning. Go get that fresh arm.
Yeah.
Don't count on him to finish the frame. Go get that fresh arm. Well, he did. He gave the ball to Wandy Peralta. Wandy Peralta faced Blake Perkins, and here's what happened.
Bryce Terang at second base is his responsibility. Ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Terang is going to score. Here comes the throw. It is not in time. Hit for a slide. The Brewers have a 1-0 lead on the single by Blake Perkins.
And that winds up being the winner. Airbender comes in, takes care of business, and 1-0. The Brewers beat the Padres, so a 4-2 road trip for San Diego. But I still highlight this game, Annie, because Michael King winds up being one of the 5 most important Padres by the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's such a storyline for Michael King, who really had to work to let go of some of his reliever mentalities and change over to what he needed to do to be a starter to get through lineups 4 times, So he did that work, and he went through the growing pains, and we saw how Ruben Niebla would tell him sometimes, hey, that outing sucked, right? Or we read that in Kevin Acey's story. So, it really was a journey for Michael King to get to that point, but you got to give him the credit. I mean, that's a hard transition to make, and he worked hard to let go of some of the things that he does as a reliever and that he's normal and accustomed to, and switched over to be a starter, and that's more pitching to contact and more game managing for having to see a lineup multiple times. That was an exciting game to watch him just blossom out of that and to see, okay, this is what the Padres see in this guy. This is what they traded for. This is why the Yankees honestly wanted to hold on to him. The Yankees didn't want to give up Michael King. So you really started to see the beginning of that.
Following the Milwaukee series, the Padres came home to host Toronto. Yu Darvish was already out of the rotation for the first time. Padres lost the first 2 games of that series, 5-1 and 5-2. Matt Waldron and Randy Vasquez taking the losses. Joe Musgrove salvaged a game on a Sunday. And then the Padres were off for their first trip to Coors Field. They split the first 2 games of the series, with Dylan Cease winning on Monday and Michael King losing on Tuesday, which brought us to the Wednesday game. Wednesday, April 24th, today's final stop on Best of Padres 2024. Coors Field, the site for the first Matt Waldron statement game. Matt Waldron had to earn the number 5 rotation spot out of spring training for the San Diego Padres. Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito were both more highly thought of than Waldron, who nonetheless found his way into the starting rotation. And his first 3 starts really weren't that great. There was one good one, though. It was up in L.A. when he pitched well against the Dodgers and held them to 1 run in 6 innings. His other 2 starts were not very good. And this one going into Coors Field was downright scary because knuckleballers at Coors Field traditionally just get annihilated. And that didn't happen. But the Padres did give Matt Waldron early offense to help him settle in to this game. Xander Bogaerts wasn't going to be in the leadoff spot for the Padres too much longer, but this was one of his best days in it. 3 hits on this Wednesday night in Colorado. He and Tatis were on base in the first inning for Ha-Seong Kim.
Here's the pitch. Kim goes down, reaches for it, pokes it over the head of the first baseman Montero and down the right field line. Bogaerts has scored. Tatis on his way. Kim into second base with a 2-run double, and the Padres have a 2-0 lead here in the first.
Part of a 4-run frame for the San Diego Padres. It was capped by a Eggy Rosario single. By the way, Tyler in the chat just caught me. I misread something I researched this morning. Matt Batten tripled. Higashioka was the first out of that inning. So sorry, Higgy. Take your triple away. Sorry, man. Tried to give you a triple.
Higgy will forgive you.
Tried to give you a triple on the
Yeah.
radio. Blew it. The rest of the game was about Matt Waldron. Matt Waldron took it from there. He pitched 6 innings, 4 hits, just 1 run, a Ryan McMahon solo homer, walked 3, struck out 5, picked up his first win of the 2024 season. But I think most importantly, Annie, this game, along with the game in L.A., those were 2 things you could then point at and say, hang on, these are 2 very adverse circumstances for a 5th starter, pitching at Dodger Stadium, pitching at Coors Field. Matt Waldron came up with better outings than the guys around him, like King and like Musgrove. And I think this was really one of the first times all year that you felt a little more confident that when Matt Waldron went out there, it could be a good thing for San Diego.
Yeah, so many question marks around Matt Waldron, who ended up having just a killer year for the Padres and really saving their butt quite a bit. And Joe Musgrove was one of the guys at the end of the year that was like, we would not be where we are without what Matt Waldron did and how he carried the rotation throughout the season, especially for pockets at a time. There was so much consternation over Matt Waldron and the knuckleball and who's going to catch the knuckleball and do they have a glove for the knuckleball, and they really had to work through some stuff with that, right?
Yeah.
But they did, and ended up being a really good flyer for them at a time when they needed it most.
The last 4 games of the game 16 to 31 tranche here, games 28 to 31, will not appear on Best of for a reason. The Padres lost each and every one of them, starting with a 9-4 8th inning lead blown at Coors Field against the Rockies, the real start of our Rockies handle the Padres in 2024 theme, and then continuing to an ugly home weekend sweep at the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies, where the Phillies just bombed the Padres out of the ballpark, homering in the first 2 innings of each and every game to put San Diego behind. Padres didn't lead the whole weekend. At the end of game 31, the Padres were 14-17. They had gone from 11-8 to 14-17. But a turnaround was on the horizon, and we will hear about it next week in this segment on Best of. There you go. Best of Padres 2024, Chapter 2.
Very cool.
All right, when we come back, we're going to go out to the lines. Our man, Christian Philly Philemon, is joining us. This weekend is MLS semifinal weekend. 4 winner-take-all single matches to determine which 2 clubs will play for MLS Cup in 2024. Who knows, in 2025, could be San Diego FC in one of these spots. Who knows? Who knows? We're going to talk to Philly about a few things. We're going to talk to him about what's going on with the MLS playoffs, because there was a lot of mumbling and grumbling and moaning and groaning after the opening round, which, remember, had those best of 3 series as opposed to single match. We're going to talk to him about the semifinals, and we're certainly going to talk to him about maybe Kevin De Bruyne coming to San Diego. All of that coming up next. Annie and Elsten go until 2, getting you set for the big weekend on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. So while you're listening to the station, you can see what you missed and click to listen on demand. So if you missed a guest, like the one coming up right now, our buddy Philly, MLS 101, or a feature like our Best of Padres that we just did, well, we've got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, tap earlier today, and your voyage of discovery can begin. All right, we're getting you ready for the weekend that will be here on Annie and Elsten, and as we have done all season long, trying to get you a little bit more up to speed on what's going on with Major League Soccer as San Diego FC on the verge of joining Major League Soccer. Their first game will be up in L.A. against the Galaxy on February 25th. Their first home game will be on March 1st against St. Louis. This weekend, MLS semifinals, 4 single elimination games to determine who is moving on. Quarterfinals, getting ready to get to the conference finals, conference semifinals, league quarterfinals. Figure out who's going to be playing in the Western and Eastern conferences to go to MLS Cup. All right. This is why we need MLS 101, and this is why we need our buddy, Christian Philemon from the Defenders of the Bank podcast, play-by-play voice of the Empire Strikers in Major Arena Soccer League, as well as covering a lot of UC Riverside sports on ESPN+. He's an entrepreneur, raconteur, and a gentleman of all stripes. And Philly joins us once again here on 97.3 The Fan. Hello, my friend. Craig and Annie back here with you in San Diego. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting ready to have a fiesta on Friday with a Frosty Franzisch Connor at lunchtime, getting ready to watch some Bundesliga. Craig, Annie, thanks again for having me back on. I thoroughly enjoy being here, and I hope that's evident. The enthusiasm isn't staged. Craig knows this firsthand, and I'm a fan of 97.3, The Fan.
Appreciate you, Philly, as always, brother. As we get into it, and again, we got 4 single elimination games, so this should be a really fun weekend for MLS soccer. But what are your thoughts on what's happened so far? I mean, the playoffs started a month ago, literally. It was October 22nd when the first wild card game was played. Here it is November 22nd. We're just into the quarterfinals. There was an international break. There was a very long first round. What are people saying around MLS about the bracket, the setup, and the state of the playoffs?
I mean, I think everybody can come to agreements in the sense that the way this was done, mildly idiotic. The only thing I have to say as far as the best of 3, 2 words, cash grab. 2 years ago, this time around, the MLS Cup finalist was over and a champion was crowned. The fact that we have to delay everything until December, the fact that we have to deal with an international break, it seems like such a waste. And also, there's a danger component that comes into that. Every team other than the LA Galaxy sent a significant amount of players to represent their countries on international break. And while that's an amazing honor, you run the risk of these players getting hurt in the midst of playoffs. So that's not that much fun, but I guess you would have to ask a certain fan base as to whether or not they appreciated it. I know fans of Miami and Cincinnati and Columbus weren't too happy, but fans of LAFC, the Galaxy, Minnesota United, obviously Orlando, and a couple other clubs, they're thrilled at this point.
Philly, Saturday in the West, it's top seed LAFC hosting the number 4 Seattle Sounders. What will you be looking for in this matchup? Can you give us a little preview?
Yeah, it's going to be a grudge match. LAFC just came off of their first round against the Vancouver Whitecaps, a team that, well, they'd been beating up on quite a bit. And they didn't exactly play the greatest of first rounds. If you look at the score aggregate, Vancouver actually came out 4-3 in this best of 3. Now, as far as the Sounders are concerned, they're a team that's been operating very solidly, stellar, if you will. They came out of their first round unscathed, but they also have a chip on their shoulders because they haven't beaten LAFC in quite some time. In fact, this year alone, LAFC is 4-0-0 against the Sounders, and Seattle hasn't beaten LAFC since May the 14th of 2021. But I think with both teams being well rested, Seattle coming in with a very experienced lineup, a team that actually beat LAFC in the 2019 Western Conference Finals, a season in which LAFC was the Supporters Shield champions. I think Seattle's going to come out there as aggressive as you can possibly think. Brian Schmetzer wants to get one over on Steve Cherundolo, and I too, if I was a Sounders fan, would be tired of losing to LAFC. So look for a grudge match in the Western Conference semis.
Meanwhile, Saturday in the East, it's the battle for Big Apple supremacy. You've got New York City FC taking on Red Bulls. How do you see that one shaking out?
I mean, this to me is the most intriguing, being a New Yorker and having experienced the Hudson River Derby. This is basically the equivalent of LAFC and the Galaxy out on the East. Although it's NYCFC that came out and won a title much quicker than the Red Bull, as I like to lovingly refer to them as, the New Jersey Energy Drinks. Look, both teams beat their opponents quite handedly. I mean, NYCFC beating Cincinnati was huge, and then the Red Bulls beating the Columbus Crew, the defending champions, was huge. But what we've seen in what will be the 29 games of the Hudson River Derby, it's been back and forth action year after year, but it's been a total sweep for NYCFC this season of the New York Red Bull. But I think this is going to be something that the boys from eventually Queens are going to get up on their opponents from Harrison, New Jersey.
Well, first of all, I think you're our show, Red Bull. So thank you, Philly, for that. Also, this weekend in the West, the Galaxy versus Minnesota. Who do you like for this one?
Oh, this is going to be a really interesting one. Now, the Galaxy have not lost at home all season long. And Minnesota, for that matter, has been on somewhat of a tear. I think since late August, they've only lost once in their 10 games. So the games that they've had against the Galaxy going back to the beginning of the season, it was a draw. And then at Dignity Health Sports Park several months ago, it took a last-minute goal by the Galaxy to propel themselves over Minnesota United. So I think Minnesota plays the Galaxy extremely well, so it should be a very, very competitive match. Galaxy are going to be very well rested, as they didn't send anybody to international break, whereas Minnesota United sent around 7 players, and 4 of their top players, for that matter, out there. But this one, I'm going to say, is the flip of a coin. I think if there's any kind of upset that we may see, it's going to be in this one. So I know there's going to be plenty of people 13 miles down the 110 from where I am right now that are going to be very angry at me, but I'm calling an upset. Minnesota United, the Loons move on.
Of course, you just don't want to see the El Trafico in the conference final, right? Galaxy, LAFC. I know that would be a tension builder right there. You'd probably both equally love and hate that, right? Just like when the Padres play the Dodgers in the playoffs, we love it, but we hate it.
I mean, it's certainly a match that induces a lot of anxiety and, unfortunately, in a lot of cases, animosity as well. That's what Major League Soccer is going to want to see now that their love child, the Inter Miami Flamingos, are no longer in the playoffs. So this is the next big game that MLS has. And quite honestly, if they do have it, it will be the biggest game throughout the course of the playoffs. I mean, as much as I want to see the Galaxy, I'd rather take on Minnesota United. But at the end of the day, like Ric Flair, former professional wrestler, once said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And the Galaxy have been a really good team this season, so I have to tip my hats off to them.
Well, the team that beat the best was Atlanta. Atlanta United went into Miami and got the big win in Game 3 to shockingly upset the team that won the Supporters Shield. Now they try to keep their Cinderella run on the road as they take on Orlando, the last of the 4 conference semifinals. What are your thoughts on that match?
I mean, I'm in shock, really, that Atlanta is in the position that they're in. I mean, they finished the regular season in 9th place. They had to slug it out in a wild card game against Montreal, and they ended up winning. And then we thought they were going to be a sacrificial lamb to Messi and crew. And true enough, on the first game, Miami did end up winning 2-1. But then Atlanta gets the win the next time around. And despite Messi scoring a goal in Game 3, Atlanta won 3-2. And even more crazy is the fact that Brad Guzan, who spent plenty of time in England playing at Aston Villa, former U.S. men's national keeper, had the game of a lifetime. Like fine wine, he just continues to age gracefully. So he had such a fantastic series that he should be in contention to at least have a roster spot for the U.S. men's national team. But I do think the Cinderella story does end. Orlando has some fantastic players, and that of Facundo Torres and Duncan McGuire. I see Orlando coming out on top in this one.
Well, before we let you go, my friend, we just have to ask you one thing because the MLS website put out a San Diego FC kind of, hey, they're on the way, preview type story. And in there, a man who has been on our program, the sporting director, Tyler Heaps, didn't exactly dodge KDB rumors, saying that, De Bruyne is the kind of player that lots of fans would love to see and that they know that lots of blah, blah, blah. He talked around it, but didn't deny it. It continues to rumble out there that the Man City star could become San Diego's top star, even a star brighter than Chucky Lozano. What are your thoughts on the possibilities?
I mean, a star without a doubt brighter than Chucky Lozano from a talent perspective, but obviously with it being so close to the border, Chucky Lozano is a stellar piece to San Diego. Look, at one point, De Bruyne was arguably the best, if not the best, midfielder in the world. A fantastic career, big part of Manchester City since 2015. He's only 33 years old. But with the way that his playing time has started diminishing these past couple of seasons under Pep Guardiola, I don't necessarily see him even wanting to stick around. Now, there was talks about Pep not coming back, but he re-signed. And so I believe De Bruyne's playing time is only going to start to diminish. Man City has played 11 games this season, and De Bruyne has only started 4 of them. So he's going to want to come out and start playing in some games. Now, whether or not another team in Europe offers him a lot of money, I don't know. But if he comes in to San Diego, you've got one of the most dynamic and amazing midfielders, and that would just cause a ruckus to a sense that it's going to bring a lot of eyes now globally to San Diego.
Well, let's see if it happens, my friend. But before we let you go, let everybody know where they can follow all of your content. Of course, with LAFC playing tomorrow, I know you guys will be doing your One More Sleep podcast for Defenders of the Bank tonight, along with coverage all weekend. Let everyone know how they can check out what you're doing.
Yeah, on Instagram at Defenders of the Bank. Basically everywhere at Defenders of the Bank other than X. That's Defend the Bank. We're still trying to pry that account open from the person who owns it. And now on Blue Sky, because apparently that's where everybody's going. So that's where you can find all of us. I am at PhilaMonster44 on Instagram and DOTB Philly on X. I think I opened up a Blue Sky account, but I can't figure that one out. Yeah, that's where you can find us. One More Sleep tonight. You'll catch us on YouTube at Defenders of the Bank, and we're going to preview this game against the Sounders.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
Indeed.
Oh, I appreciate that. Same to y'all as well. Football, family, fun, and, fiesta. I'm all for it. Thank you.
There's Philly. We'll be catching up with him for the next round as well, but appreciate you always, brother.
Nothing but love, and I'll see y'all very soon.
You bet. Christian, Philly Philemon, Defenders of the Bank podcast up in Los Angeles. Play-by-play voice as well up there.
So that's still a big rumor for SDFC, right? I mean,
yeah.
When do you think that will be either confirmed or denied? Okay, January. Okay,
February. Yeah. I mean, it would. And if I remember right, he could even, I think, someone out there will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Premier League season will overlap the MLS season. Mm-hmm. So there's quite a possibility that De Bruyne could come like in the middle of the year.
That's right. You mentioned that before, that this is going to be something, same as Chucky.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Chucky, I think, has an out in his deal in January. So I think he'll be there at the beginning, but he's been playing for PHV Eindhoven, I believe. I just did that off the top of my head. Eindhoven, I believe, is where he's playing right now. So I think he'll be there for opening night and he'll be there for training camp. If they got a guy like KDB, there's a chance he would come in the middle and make a giant splash and, the whole thing, national headlines. Right. Because it really would be. And that's why I wanted not only to bring it up with Philly, but, like for you and the listeners to hear that, like, KDB is a big deal. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal. It's a Soto. You know what I mean? If you're thinking about baseball, a little bit older maybe. So, I don't know, a Judge, like a superstar of the game.
Do they sign these guys to big contracts typically when they come over? I mean, is this so?
Gigantic.
So but like years wise, Like you get these players for a long time, or it's just
Maybe not
really...
as much that
Okay.
as it could
The
be
money, I
a 3-year,
understand, is
4-year.
large.
It's
Got it.
usually
Yeah.
soccer contracts are like 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, not 10.
Not 13, 16. Not the wild baseball contracts, but big money.
Yeah.
And I would expect KDB would get big money.
All right.
To come to San Diego, and hey, they should have big money. They spent $500 million just to open the doors.
Yeah.
So I would expect San Diego FC to have, the scratch. What's the most expensive contract asked out of? Messi. Easy answer.
What's up with Messi not being in the postseason here?
Well, his team got knocked out
Right, but why?
because Atlanta beat him in that game. I mean, Messi played good, but they gave up 3 goals. Messi don't play defense. He plays offense.
I know, but like all that hub about Messi feels like they should make it.
You win the Supporters' Shield, you usually lose the cup. It's the way it goes.
All right.
They won the Supporters' Shield. They got one piece of silverware this year.
So walk away with that.
Well, they're going to have to. We're going to walk away and come right back. 12 o'clock Sports Fix Weekend Preview Edition coming up at the halfway point of Annie and Elsten after this. It's Friday. It's 12 o'clock. You ain't got no job. You ain't got stuff to do. So hang out with us. Andy and Elsten, your midday hang. Rolling into our weekend preview edition of the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. All the news you need to navigate the weekend that will be. Annie Heilbrun's ready to lead off our series of reports.
Well, let's start with Shohei Ohtani, who has,
What do you do now?
I don't know, 90 days before his next at-bat. But anyways, he has his
I would love if we had a little graphic
little
pop
cl-
up next to you.
little ticker for the
101
Ohtani
days till
plate
Ohtani's
appearance.
at bat.
Yes.
Please no.
He has his third MVP. The Baseball Writers Association of America announced that Ohtani won the National League MVP in his first season as a Dodger. Francisco Lindor landed in second place, while Ketel Marte rounds out the top three. Ohtani received all 31st place votes. Aaron Judge is also, once again, an MVP. The Yankee captain was the unanimous choice for the American League's top player of the year. Bobby Witt Jr. of the Royals was the unanimous runner-up, getting all of the second-place votes. And Judge's teammate, Juan Soto, more on him later, finished third in the voting. The Astros have called re-signing Alex Bregman their top offseason priority. Whether that'll happen remains to be seen, but John Heyman of the New York Post writes that Houston has made an offer to their longtime third baseman. It's unclear whether any other teams have made a formal proposal, but Heyman reports that Bregman's camp has also fielded interest from the Tigers and the Red Sox. The Phillies have informed outfielder Austin Hayes that they will not tender him a contract before tonight's deadline. He'll immediately become a free agent without having to first clear waivers. He'd been projected for a $6.4 million salary by MLB contributor Matt Swartz. The Royals have reached out to Juan Soto this offseason, also writes John Heyman.
Good for them.
It doesn't appear talks got far, as unsurprisingly, Soto's asking price is apparently out of Kansas City's comfort zone.
Oh, what do you know?
At the start of the offseason, Heyman reported that a pair of small market teams were among 11 clubs to reach out to Soto. The Rays were quickly reported as one of the other suitors. Seems the Royals were the second team. The stove is cold, my friends.
Oh, my God.
That's what we got.
It's the
all right?
coldest it's been since like the lockout.
It's pretty cold. It's pretty cold.
When Kansas
Frigid.
City's
Yeah.
number pops up on Scott Boris's phone,
Yeah.
like he laughs before he answers the call, right?
I mean, and it is true that it's like, hey, good for them.
Yeah.
But then you wonder, like, how far do they really think this is going to get? Like, what is the agenda here? Because you don't really think you're going to sign him. So what's happening?
It's a good for them if they were like, we're gonna give you the most money. We're gonna offer you the most money because coming here to Kansas City, there's no way Juan would ever do that. Then I'd be like, good for them. But the fact that they like had to go out there like, oh, he's a little above our price range. Dude, why are you wasting our time?
Seriously.
I know.
You know what this is?
Maybe they offered a good package or something.
I'll tell you exactly what this is.
An enticing package, which I give them credit for.
We'll give you
This
free
is-
tickets to
You
the
got Bobby
Chiefs.
Witt Jr.
Yeah.
You got right. Yeah.
This is me
Let you meet Patrick Mahomes.
or you out there in the listening audience. This is one of us walking on the Ferrari lot this
That's right.
weekend.
Can I
being
do
like,
a test
hey,
drive?
I'm really interested in purchasing a brand new Ferrari. Can you just, take me through some of the specifics
Going to
of the car?
Going to an open house at Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Adam says the Rays did make a big money deal to Freddie Freeman a few years ago. Yes, it's possible.
If they
It's
actually
possible if they
tried,
did
like,
that. Right,
I'd
yeah.
be like, all right,
It
you know what?
sounds
Good
like
for
the
them.
prices
That's
were-
cool.
Yeah, if
were
their
different.
stadium wasn't completely destroyed and torn to shreds and they weren't playing in the Yankees minor league stadium and they wouldn't have a home in 2028, seeing as their current arena deal is on the kibosh.
Maybe this is like a shoot your shot kind of moment.
There
Well,
you go.
Adam's just pointing out that they offered Freddie Freeman a ton.
Right, like I
couple
think
years
it's like that
ago.
it can happen. Like it can happen that
yeah.
a small market team can try to land one of these guys.
Yeah.
I should add that today at 5 p.m. is the deadline for MLB teams to tender
Non-tenders.
contracts to arbitration eligible. The Padres have quite a few of them. We can get into that later if we want. I haven't heard anything about arbitration deals, but listen, we don't necessarily need to hear about them until like the deadline passes.
Well-
But they've got Jason Adam, Luis Ariz, Campusano, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Morajón, Patino, Tyler Wade, and they typically come to terms with these guys, and it never goes to arbitration.
I would suggest that of that list, Tyler Wade is likely to be non-tendered. And Patino is a call because he was hurt all year. So it's not like he's going to get a big raise in arbitration.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just if you want to keep Luis Patino.
Oh, this isn't the deadline they have to come to the deal. This
No,
is
no,
just the
it's to
deadline.
offer
Not,
contract.
yeah,
to
okay.
offer arbitration.
Okay.
Yeah. So not.
This isn't.
Yeah, and remember, the Padres
Right.
never go to arbitration.
Exactly.
They always settle. But you have to offer in order to get that later Padres contract offer. So, I mean,
I imagine they're going to be offering maybe, who did you just say? Tyler?
Wade.
Maybe
Why
Tyler
would
Wade,
you?
right.
Why would you
Why?
offer Wade
Right.
arbitration? You could probably sign him on a minor league deal.
Right, I agree. The other ones I think you're probably looking at, yes, we'll figure something out here.
Yeah, Patino's the only other one I might like. Just maybe not. But again, he won't be expensive. So
He's 800. He's projected to be at 800,000. Tyler Wade at 900,000. But
Yeah, you
that's
know.
another one where if you want to bring him back, you can.
right, exactly. Yeah, the call is theirs. All right, on over to our man Braden.
Got some football stories for you. Start with high school. Congratulations to Calipatria, who beat Coastal Academy last night in the Division V AA Championship, the first of the championships that will be ongoing for the next couple of weeks here in town for high school football. Calipatria beat Coastal Academy last night, 44-25 at the brand new stadium at Palomar College in North County. Division V playoff championships will go on there next week, but a lot of the divisions 1 through 5, are in the semifinals. Carlsbad will play Granite Hills tonight in Carlsbad in the Division I semifinals. Winner of that will take on the winner of San Marcos hosting El Camino in Division I. Granite Hills expected to win by a 58% chance. San Marcos has a 72% chance of beating El Camino tonight. Modern Day Catholic will take on Helix tonight. The Highlanders expected to win. They got a 58% chance, but it should be a close one between Modern Day and Helix. Poway taking on University City. Poway North County School. I need money, not East County. Will take on UC at UC. That is also expected to be a 3-point game between UC and Poway in favor of the Centurions. Again, that's the D2 semis. In Division III, can St. Augustine continue their magical run? A school that went 0-10 in the regular season, now 2-0 in the postseason, is one win away from going to the Division III championship game. They take on a San Diego High team that has one of their former coaches and former San Diego Charger in Stephen Cooper, as well as his son on the team.
Yes.
St. Augustine, according to CalPreps.com, expected to win 19-14. CalPreps has correctly predicted every single one of St. Augustine's games this season. Take that for what it's worth. San Pasqual will make the trek out to El Centro to take on Central. San Pasqual expected to win that game 24-20, and that is the Division III playoffs in D4. Out in the East County, got a good one. El Cap and Grossmont. El Cap will host this game in Lakeside. Grossmont expected to win 38-36. Should be a tight one.
Foothillers.
Between the Hillers and the Vaqueros. Ron Berner against Anthony Lawrence.
Ron Burgundy? Who?
Ron Berner.
That's right.
He's the head
okay.
coach of the El Cap Vaqueros. He's
Not
been
Ron
there for a
Burgundy.
long time.
I'm Ron Berner.
Definitely not him. Montgomery versus Westview.
Wait, where is this team? Where is this game?
Games in Lakeside.
Okay.
That is some like Americana football playing at El Cap. They got the rodeo next door. They got the
Right.
old school bleachers. They got the EC painted on the side of the hill out there in
You
Lakeside.
got is it Mary's Donuts or Rose's Donuts? You got some donuts right
Mary's
around the corner.
Donuts.
Yeah, I got
Mary's
Mary's Donuts down there.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there's going to be a
4-H's
nice
around the
little
corner.
pregame at
Right.
Eastbound out there in East County.
Got Eastbound.
Remember, this is the school, El Cap. I like what Ron Berner does. Their first day of practice, they put their helmets on. They run through downtown Lakeside, underneath the Lakeside sign.
a
The
lot
whole
of fun.
town comes out and waves the flags.
They
and
do
all
a
that.
parade there still and stuff. They do
Yeah.
a cool.
So El Cap trying to get to the CIF championship game again in Division 4. Montgomery will be in Rancho Penasquitos to take on Westview, and then in D5, Bonita will take on Crawford, and Vista will play Monta Vista. Monta Vista shouldn't have been in the playoffs. RBV elected to not participate, and since they are the 12th seed, they have won 2 straight games in a row and are 1 game away from the CIF championship game. Saturday night, Lincoln Cathedral at Snapdragon Stadium. Get your tickets online at snapdragonstadium.com
Take the
or at
trolley.
Ticketmaster. It is $23 to pay for a ticket. Parking, you do have to pay to park at the game tomorrow night. It's $15 if you prepay, $20 if you pay there. They're expecting up to 15,000 people at the game tonight. The game on Saturday at 7 o'clock. As Lincoln and Cathedral, number 1 versus number 2, will get after it on the brand new field surface at Snapdragon Stadium.
Let's see if it took. Or if it's old soggy.
My inside sources are saying, don't hold your breath.
Oh, boy.
On the sod. So there's that.
Oh, boy.
College football. I got some interesting games for you this weekend. Tonight, UNLV will play San Jose State. UNLV still ranked in the top 25 at number 24. Indiana at Ohio State. Big game for playoff implication. Ohio State is favored by 11. Indiana trying to shock the world and continue their undefeated season. Other big games for you. Ole Miss is down in the swamp at Florida. That game you can be here right here on 97 through the Fan. They'll be at 9 in the morning on Saturday. Penn State will be at Minnesota. BYU at Arizona State. 2 ranked teams still battling for a chance to play the Big 12 championship game. Colorado currently has the driver's seat as they sit atop the Big 12 standings. They'll take on Kansas. And then we got a fun one at Yankee Stadium. At 4 o'clock Pacific time, the Army Black Knights, who are 9-0, 19 in the country, are taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are number 6 in the country, who sits at 9-1. Notre Dame did lose to a MAC school that's 7th in the MAC right now in Northern Illinois at home. Notre Dame's favored by 14. If Army wins this game, really puts Boise State. They really make a run with Boise State, give them a run for their money to be that one Group of 5 school to make the playoff potentially. Could you imagine Army in the college football playoff? That'd be fun to see.
That'd be incredible, but obviously they have to beat Notre Dame. So.
They got to beat Notre Dame. They lose to Notre Dame, they're out 100%.
Yeah.
NFL news, Broncos and Chargers game in Week 16 is flexed to Thursday night. It's the first Thursday night flex, which I think is unfair to players, but instead of playing on Sunday, they're going to flex to the Thursday night game on December 19th. Which will move the Bengals game, whoever they're playing. Cleveland and Cincinnati will then move to Sunday. So the Chargers-Broncos will be on Thursday, December 19th instead. Steelers-Pickens slights the Browns and blames the loss on the snow and the refs. Browns snapped the Steelers' 5-game winning streak with a 24-19 win Thursday night. Steelers wide receiver George Pickens downplayed the Browns' abilities and blamed the loss on heavy snow that fell throughout the game. Conditions played a huge part in today's game. I don't really think the Browns are that good at all. I think the conditions kind of saved them today. Sounds like some sour grapes. Speaking of that game last night, anybody see Antonio Brown wants to play for the Steelers again?
Are you serious?
Antonio Brown tweeted out that he would play for the Steelers for free.
Here comes AB.
He'll play for the Steelers for free. So, you know what? After the loss, Mike Tomlin, very upset, as you usually see.
Look at him in his beanie.
His beanie is great. They asked him about it. What do you think about Antonio Brown potentially playing for your team for free?
Antonio Brown tweeted out that he wants to return to the Steelers and he'll play for free. Any thoughts on that?
The smirk and the walk-off.
He just walks off.
The smirk and the walk-off. I got to play it again. He's got his wide eyes. He's looking. He's listening to the question. He's like trying to find where the guy is.
Yeah.
And then you're like, really?
That up to the left, I've learned that's a person like you're trying to remember or think of. So he was like, do I want to say what? No.
Right. No.
I'm
I'll
just
walk
gonna
off.
be smart about this and walk off. We're gonna talk about this later. Potentially, 5-star quarterback Bryce Underwood, number 1 prospect in the 2025 ESPN 300 recruiting rankings, has flipped his commitment from LSU to Michigan. He confirmed on social media Thursday. Michigan had offered him a couple of weeks ago a 4-year, $12 million NIL deal, which would be the highest out of anybody in NIL era, at least recorded on paper, that we all know about. And he went out to say, no, I'm committed to LSU. Goes to the LSU game against Alabama, watches LSU get smashed, and then all of a sudden, you know what, $12 million doesn't look too bad. So now he's committed to Michigan. Interesting. $12 million, 4-year deal.
$12 million for a college player.
Wow.
For one college player.
Guaranteed, right?
One of 85 college players.
What happens if he sucks?
Just what? A, how can you compete with that?
No cut deal.
Other schools, but B, why leave? Like, why do? That's
be like
better
Cam
than he's
Rising.
gonna get.
We talked about it before off air, but It's better than Brees Hall's
Right.
4-year, $9 million deal he got on a rookie deal after getting a draft pick. I mean, why?
It's insane.
If you're a college and you're paying athletes to play and they're employees, why limit the amount of years they're allowed to play? That seems like an antitrust violation.
Absolutely wild, brother.
Here's Craig.
All right, here we go with my
Take us home.
voluminous report to take you home. We're going to start on the local tip with a big announcement yesterday afternoon. International women's soccer is once again returning to San Diego in 2025. It's the She Believes Cup. A doubleheader will be played at Snapdragon Stadium on February 26th. It will start with Australia taking on Colombia, and then Emma Hayes' U.S. women's national team, featuring Jaden Shaw and friends, will be battling Japan, 7th-ranked Japan. So that'll be at 7:30 on February 26th. That'll be the day after San Diego FC's game at Galaxy to start their MLS campaign and life. So what a weekend of soccer, February 25th and 26th next year up in L.A., SDFC Galaxy, and then the next day in San Diego, U.S. women's team taking on Japan. Those matches will be televised on Peacock, by the way, if you want to update your subscription in February. Or keep it, because in January, I'm sure there will be a NFL playoff game. So
there's going to be more dissecting into all of these different networks and streamers and all that. So you might as well just keep them at this point.
might as well hang on to it.
Try to freeze and re-up. I don't know.
Melanie will let you know. I will let you know some great shows to watch on Peacock, and we'll get you taken care of. Busy weekend for the San Diego Gulls. They travel to Coachella Valley tonight to take on the third-place Firebirds. Then they'll return home Saturday evening to Pechanga Arena to host the rival Ontario Reign. At home, 6 o'clock face-off there. San Diego Clippers are off this weekend. They are on the road next week. Changes to the NBA All-Star Game format are reportedly coming into sharper focus. Following reports that the league was considering a 4-team tournament for the All-Star Game, the tourney now is shaping up to be a pickup-style format in which the 2 semifinal games would be played to just 40 points, and the championship would be played to 25. Now, when they say pickup format, I wonder, because a lot of times in pickup, a basket's worth 1 point as opposed to 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like just a basket's a point and you get to 40 points, or if those are 2s and 3s getting to 40 points, because that'll be fast if you're scoring to 40 points.
Right. You get there quick, right.
Boom. And the championship would be played to just 25 points, which would be very quick and obviously would encourage,
very
defense.
Quick. Yes.
Would encourage defense. You couldn't do. This is the whole point of what they're trying to do with the All-Star Game, is to take away 211 to 186 and 143 pointers being shot.
I guess that might be kind of fun, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to get to those. Like you said, it's going to be quicker. It's going to move quicker. But yeah, you're going to have to defend. You don't want those points to be scored. So
yeah, and from what we're hearing, it could be a King's Court type situation where you win, you stay on the floor. But
those are fun.
Yeah, the 4 teams will be. What they're going to do is they're going to pick the 2 All-Star rosters of 12 in the West and the East, and then they're going to have 3 captains, and they're going to do like a schoolyard pick to get the 3 teams of 8.
Wow, it's going to be some trash talk there.
Yeah, so then you'll have 3 teams of 8 with an 8-person team. That means, you can go through the whole rotation. No one's getting buried on the back of the bench, right?
And the closer you get to that number that they decide, the more competitive it's going to get.
Yep.
Did Steph Curry come up with this?
He worked with Adam Silver on all of this.
Maybe Steph needs to come over to MLB and work on a few things.
Maybe he should.
This will come to MLB in about 25 years.
25, maybe,
right?
yeah.
After the NBA's already changed it 3 other times.
So 3 of the 4 teams will be the All-Star teams.
Like, hey, we have this great idea.
Right? The 4th team on Friday night in the All-Star Weekend, they play the sophomores against the rookies in the Rising Star Challenge.
Yeah.
And whoever wins that game, that's the team from which the 4th team will be put together.
Oh, it's fun.
So that adds a little spice, too, because you're either going to have rookies or sophomores who aren't all-stars taking on these all-stars, trying to make their name, cut their teeth.
Listen, I appreciate the effort to try to fix this thing that every year seems to be more and more of a dud.
Well, it was definitely broken last year.
Right.
So I'm glad they've got the. Let's see how it goes in February.
It's creative.
Yesterday, on the NBA scoreboard, hang on a second, I had it here, I let it go. Yesterday on the NBA scoreboard, the Orlando Magic got a 3-pointer from Franz Wagner with less than 3 seconds left as the Lakers flat out blew it at home and lost 119 to 118. LA missed 3 free throws, preceding the ability for Orlando to come down and stroke the game-winning shot. So bad news there for L.A. Elsewhere, Charlotte outlasted Detroit in overtime, 123-121. In that game, Detroit's number 1 pick, Cade Cunningham, left with a hip issue after falling hard. Hopefully he's okay. Toronto knocked off Minnesota 110-105. And San Antonio, second straight win without Victor Wembanyama. They beat Utah 126-118. But pull down the crazy-colored courts and fire up the Ocean's 11 theme because it's NBA Cup Friday night.
Cup time.
Bam, bam, bam. Here we go.
You just grabbed your microphone for that.
I did. I just got excited. I got fired up. I'm always fired up for the NBA Cup. NBA Cup is great. Here are your games tonight. Brooklyn at Philly, the tire fire that is the Sixers. Can you believe the Sixers have the worst record in the whole league? They're 2-12. They've got Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George. They're 2-12.
Why are they broken?
They're broken because all of those stars have alternately been hurt and terrible.
Wow.
Remember we had the story about the meeting they had Monday, and then the whole meeting leaked out by Tuesday, and then Paul George ran to his podcast to talk about it on Wednesday.
They're a lot of fun though because they've got the tea, they've got the drama.
They're a hot mess.
Right? And they get in the coach's face. The coach gets in their face, says, "Hey, it's your guys' problem."
Yeah,
it's good.
Boston at Washington, Golden State at New Orleans, Atlanta at Chicago, Portland takes on Houston, Indiana, Milwaukee, that's a big game, Dallas, Denver, and Sacramento Clips at the Intuit Dome. Those are your NBA Cup matchups tonight. NHL, last night, the Ducks and Kings were off. In Boston, the Bruins skated past a team from Utah. Tonight, I didn't say it.
You said Utah.
I mean, just Utah's worthy of a foul? I thought it was club.
Yeah, that's part of the deal.
Well, then
You're
Utah
saying part of the
club.
team, the Utah Hockey Club.
Utah Hockey Club lost. I want to at least earn my foul. I mean,
team from Salt Lake.
You don't want to just have a reach in. You want to actually get the guy.
It's a Friday, so they come very easily.
That's fair.
You know?
That's right.
That's fair. Itchy trigger finger over
right,
there.
exactly.
As soon as the NHL happens, that's
loose giving a foul is right.
2 games tonight on the ice, including the Ducks playing host to Buffalo. Okay. Oh, by the way, terrible news for the NHL and the Washington Capitals.
Yes. I blame Craig for this.
Yeah, remember at the beginning of the week when I told you we would start to follow Alex Ovechkin?
Yes.
And then he scored a hat trick? Well, the very next game he broke his leg.
Oh, no.
Washington.
Fractured fibula.
Oh, no.
For Ovi.
But was it a tibia and a fibula?
Just a
because
fibby.
I had both.
You had the tibby-fibby. He only had the
tibby-fibby.
fibby.
Right, so.
So Ovechkin expected to be out 4 to 6
tougher?
weeks. You are.
That's
wow.
NWSL Championship will take place tomorrow afternoon live on CBS. So Annie picks up a
personal foul on Annie.
What was fouling about that?
Second
Just the
team
truth?
foul.
It is true.
Yeah.
I think I would call a timeout and go to the green light to review that one.
Right.
I don't think that was a foul.
Give
Put
her
up the facts.
Give her a foul for arguing the foul.
Could be a T.
That's
Could
right.
tee you up.
Bang.
Kansas City, Missouri is the site of the NWSL Championship. It's playing in the brand new women's soccer only stadium that hosts the Current. However, the 2 teams playing, top-seeded Shield-winning Orlando Pride will try to cap the double when they take on Washington Spirit. That match is on CBS tomorrow at 5 p.m. Also in NWSL news, here's something interesting. Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark already starting to flex her mogul muscles, even as just a rookie. She has joined an ownership group that's seeking to bring an NWSL expansion team to Cincinnati. On Friday, NWSL Commissioner Jessica Berman confirmed Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Denver are 3 finalists in the bidding process for the league's 16th team, Clark attaching her name as a potential minority owner.
That's cool.
Yeah, had a lot of steam. And how would, just think about that. Like, we think of LeBron as like a mogul, You think of Caitlin Clark.
Smart.
Like 25, already getting into ownership. Holy cow.
That's a smart move.
Lastly, to wrap up the fix, we talked about it with Philly earlier. MLS Conference semifinals take place over the weekend. Saturday in the West, top seed LAFC hosts number 4 Seattle. Sunday in the West, number 2 seed LA Galaxy hosts Minnesota. The East is where all the upsets have happened. Saturday in the East, it's 6 versus 7. The two New York sides, New York City FC against Red Bulls of New York, New Jersey. Sunday in the East, 9th seed Atlanta tries to keep their Cinderella run alive at Orlando. And there it is. There it is indeed. A very long sports fix.
Friday edition.
Friday fix is
Well, we
always
took
long.
the time that we shaved off on Wednesday and Thursday.
Added
and
it all to
it.
Friday.
That's right.
Let's take a time out. When we come back, a grab bag of some of the stories we haven't got to yet, including NIL, $12 million offer. We just touched on it. And a couple of bummer cancellations in the world of sports. All of that next. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Football fans, listen up. If you need that extra edge for game day, then you need to cash the ticket. New episodes every Thursday and Friday with Mike Valenti and Jim Costa breaking down the biggest matchups, finding the best value on the board every single week. Cash the Ticket is the podcast to help you bet smarter on both pro and college games. Follow Cash the Ticket on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And in Elsten, back with you. 12:30 is the time. We are playing Fast Money a little bit later in the hour, so get ready. We'll open up the phone lines shortly. We have an official signifier for that. There it is. Do you want to reveal it, Annie?
I think people will be afraid to.
But they're not open yet. Oh no, you just opened them.
You just opened them. Now they're open. Here, I'll close them real quick.
There you go. There you go. Close them back up. That'd be a big earring for you.
This is
extra dangly.
It wasn't as smooth as I would have hoped it would have been. You know what I mean?
Sade over here.
Yeah, it wasn't as I feel like I didn't get the right effort to ring ratio.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
I'll try and do better when we open the phones.
There you go.
That's right.
Momentarily. All right, a couple of grab bag topics here. A couple that have been sitting on our rundown for a couple of days, but we can knock them out pretty quick. I'm going to start in reverse order, actually. If you don't know, Hubie Brown has just had one of the worst weeks that any human being could possibly have. He had to bury his son.
Oh, no.
And no father
No.
ever wants to bury their son. Now, when you live to be 91 years old, the odds improve, obviously, because you lived a very long time. But Hubie Brown had to bury his son this past week. So it's really no surprise a week later to hear that his broadcast career is about to come to an end. He's going to call one more game this year for ESPN, and then that's going to be it. I mean, Hubie Brown is 91, and he's still good. He's actually still good on games. Like, he's looked the same for 20 years. He's done this job for a long time, but he's kept going and kept battling. But this is it's just kind of the ultimate
End of the road. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really feel for him. My heart goes out to Hubie Brown.
For sure. I mean, that's a real. Obviously, burying your son is tragic.
Yeah, and I mean, his son was in his 50s.
Yeah.
But,
But still.
So absolute drag. Hubie Brown, a great coach many, many decades ago, notably with the Knicks, Blazers, but he's been a TV announcer forever and just so good at everything he does. So big shout out to Hubie Brown, incredibly valuable voice in the world of NBA basketball for decades.
He's 91?
Yeah.
He still looks good.
I know, right? I mean, incredible genes.
Wow. Okay.
That's an ESPN voice, Hubie Brown. Also, ESPN announcing the cancellation of Around the Horn next year.
I was bummed to see this. I mean, I used to watch Around the Horn quite a bit back in the day, less lately now, but I'll catch it still on replays or I'll catch it on my DVR. I like Around the Horn. I think they do a good job. I like hearing the different insights from the different reporters that they have on. Everybody's got a different take. Braden, you felt like this show's hit the trash?
I used to like it, and then just like every other show, they stopped talking about sports, so I don't care.
Oh.
It's about, it turned into that like fashion show that they had on MLB too. It was just kind of like super eyewash. It used to be really good with Tony Reali, and I used to watch that show right into PTI, but just the shows on, I don't know. I feel like ESPN's gotten away from sports. I only watch ESPN now if they have a live game on. Other than that,
I watch
really
for Scott Van Pelt most.
I really don't care. It's the same thing with like all the morning preview shows on CBS and Fox. I mean, that's just a bunch of like very basic levels of entertainment segments where they're not talking about the sport, they're doing gimmicky things, which I thought they were so much better than.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Around the Horn and PTI those are the original.
Yeah.
Talking head kind of, hot. They weren't even hot takes. I thought they were always pretty thoughtful, decent, well thought out takes, right? They weren't
Yeah.
necessarily the hot takes era, but I don't know why they're canceling it, except that I'm assuming it's a money thing and they just decided the show's run its course. Maybe the viewership isn't there, but it had a long run.
Well, are you ready for my hot take?
Yes.
On this? I believe what has killed shows like PTI and Around the Horn. Multiple things. There's always multiple things, including the incredible proliferation of copycat shows where everyone, there was a while where ESPN, you just couldn't turn it on from, I'd say, 10 to 4.
Every show is the same.
Yeah, just 4 people in a box yelling at each other, or 4 people on a studio panel yelling at each other and talking over one another. But to be very honest with you, I think social media brought an end to opinion shows like this, because everyone's got their own opinion now. Everyone's got their own curated feed now. Everyone's picked their voices.
But you still have like the Stephen A. Smiths and all
well,
that.
right, but there's been a diminishment of all of these because
Yeah.
it used to be kind of your virtual water cooler was finding out what they were talking about on PTI, right? I would just like you guys, flip on Around the Horn at 2, listen to PTI at 2:30. Now you've got a real good feel of all the big stories and all the big topics. But these days, honestly, they all showed up for you as a push notification. The second they happened, you've already looked at this stuff. Your Instagram feed already has something. You already listened to a podcast about it.
Or there's like, it's an oversaturation where you're like, why do I need another opinion from anyone of what's going to happen or what did happen or what happened this week? Because you've heard so many opinions by that point with all the various podcasts and broadcasts and everything being put on social media. I could see that.
Yeah. So that's to me where it is. The gatekeepers in terms of who crafts opinions, that's completely changed. And
I don't know
now
if that's good for us, but
no, it's not necessarily. But whereas before, hearing what TJ Simers had to say about the USC whatever, seemed important. Now probably you've already gotten if you were a USC fan, just to continue the example, you've probably already heard about it on Inside Troy and followed this on such and such and so. So who the hell cares what TJ Simers has to say about it? You've already developed your own opinion, and you've already tweeted it or skeeted it or threaded it or whatever you did.
Skeeted it?
That's what Blue Sky is, a skeet instead of a tweet.
it is not.
That's what I heard.
It's oh my
skeet.
God,
I don't
that
mind
deserves
skeet.
a foul. Braden.
That
What,
does.
on Blue
Yeah.
Sky?
Yeah, that's a stupid
Not a
thing.
skeet, okay?
On me
A
for
skeet.
saying
No,
it?
just
No,
on
it's
Blue
not Blue Sky.
Right.
All right,
Blue
That's
Sky
on
gets a
one
Blue
foul.
foul.
Sky.
One foul, Blue Sky. Well, I don't know if that's actually official, but I've seen people
Okay.
say it
well,
on the
A skeet.
website.
Are you good?
Isn't that like a is it like a ludicrous
I mean, it's a
lyric
slang
or something?
for something that happens between a man. It's a
Stop.
slang. Yeah.
slang?
So you can Google that on your own.
Didn't know. Had no idea. Yeah, so that's my feeling about Around. It's like just the whole. Plus, I just think it's played. The whole here's 4 people. Here's 3 angry sports writers and an attractive woman in between that's serving as the panelist. And well, how about you? How about you? Like, I just feel like the whole thing is just kind of. Haven't we done it? Haven't we just done it to death?
But sometimes I would rather have that than the hot take, banging the fists on the table and performative and all
I agree.
that.
I agree.
And that's kind of what we're left with now, I think.
Yeah,
So.
no, I agree with that. I mean, any Stephen A. Smith show is just 2 people yelling.
Sometimes, and I don't even mind his opinions. I mean, sometimes I think he has thoughtful takes, but it's the whole performative action of it that maybe honestly is kind of going away too because of what you just said. I mean, now you scroll through social media, you see so many opinions from little clips from the different shows, from Foul Territory or from so-and-so's podcast or from whatever that are talking about everybody's main topic of the day. And sometimes it is like, well, what do I care for one more opinion?
Yeah, I mean, really, that's my bottom line. Everything's decentralized. You've already received opinions in your device. You've already had curated content in your device. Why am I now going to seek out a television show at a time to sit there and I don't even know what they're going to talk about for 30 minutes? All the things I'm interested in, they've already come to me on my device, so I don't need you to tell me what are the 14 interesting things today. I already know because I've chosen them myself. And that's where we are in 2024. Okay, let's take a time out. When we come back, last silly game of the week. Let's see if we can qualify somebody to head to our grand prize drawing at the end of the month. A 2-night stay at Westgate, Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Soul Motown, and a $150 food and beverage credit. We need to
Ring the bell. There you go.
Ring my bell.
open up the phone lines.
Ring my bell.
833-288-0973 is the number. 833-288-0973. Phone lines are officially open. We are looking for a contestant to take on either Annie or myself as today's contestant on Fast Money, the bonus round from the Family Feud game show. If you can tie or beat us, you will be in the hopper. Let's take that time out and come back and play Fatty next. Annie and Elsten go until 2 on The Fan. The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino features newly designed premier rooms, part of their $70 million room renovations, home of legendary Vegas fun. The award-winning Soul of Motown is a high-energy, concert-style musical tribute celebrating Motown legends. This is a must-see show during your Las Vegas vacation getaway. Tickets at WestgateResorts.com. We're trying to get you to Vegas every day on Silly Games. We play it.
Paulie will be in Vegas all next week.
Who will be?
Paul?
Oh, yeah, Paul
Yeah,
Angle. Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
he will see the Motown show.
I mean, he could.
Yes.
He could.
He could go see the Soul of Motown.
That's right.
I don't know if that's his and Megan's vibe.
I mean, whose vibe isn't Motown?
I couldn't agree more.
You know what? Spitting facts out here.
Get to it, Paul.
Factual Friday.
I want to report.
Yes.
I want to report in
Yes.
December from Paul about Soul of Motown.
Mm-hmm.
See what you did there.
I like it. Okay. Meanwhile, let's try and qualify someone and play Fast Money. First 20 times I heard that bumper, I thought he said no fielding
I
here.
still think he says that.
He said feuding, which makes sense because it's Family Feud.
I guess. It still sounds like fielding to me.
The band's blasting here. Braden, can you bring it? Just a little. Thank you. Couldn't hear myself. I was getting blown out by these cats. All right, it's Fast Money time. Today's contestant is Griffin in San Diego. Hello, Griffin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great, man. Appreciate you calling in. You get to play Fast Money today. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we play the game.
All right, born and raised in San Diego. I love Jesus, and I'm a fellow TCU fan with Braden.
There you go.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah,
Go
well.
Frogs.
Don's-
Go Frogs.
Oh, he
Go
said TCU.
Frogs.
I thought he said CCU, like
No.
Cathedral Catholic.
Cathedral CC
CC
University.
University. Well, you guys look like a university. Let's be honest.
Well, we were almost CCCP.
They do.
Like,
Cathedral
what?
Catholic College Prep, but that kind of
Every
with
time I
red
step
and
on
gold.
that
probably
campus, I think
bad.
it's a
I
university.
think I'm a Pepperdine.
That'd be a
Like,
village in Tuscany there, Annie.
oh, man. Okay, here's how the game works, Griffin. It's very straightforward. It's going to start with a choice by you. You get to pick your opponent, either Annie or Craig. Then that host you pick will leave the studio. Our resident Ray Combs is Braden Soprenet. He has surveyed a previous studio audience here for Annie and Elsten and asked for their most popular answer to 5 different questions. You're going to hear those questions and try and find the most popular answer. Then when you're done, host returns. They won't know your answers, but cannot use any of the answers you provided. So it's a built-in advantage in the game for you. We'll each go through the routine, and then we'll add up the scores. And if you win, you're in the hopper for Vegas. All right, Griffin, who do you want to play, Annie or Craig today?
All right, I will take on Annie today.
All right,
I love
Annie.
the name Griffin. Okay, I'm going to
Thank
get out of
you.
here. Yeah. And you're welcome to your parents.
There goes. Eddie's giving you a look at some stockings that have been hung by the microphone with care
That's right.
in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there, or St. Tony Gwynn, as the case may be. All right, over to Braden. Griffin, I'm keeping score for you, buddy. Good luck.
1 minute on the
All
clock,
right.
Griffin, as I ask you question number 1. Name a person who might use a megaphone.
An announcer.
Okay.
Name a phrase that starts with the word knock.
Knocking boots.
Oh, yeah.
What did he say? Knock.
Knocking boots.
Knocking boots.
That sounds like an Annie answer. I love it.
Name a place people valet their cars.
A restaurant.
Good answer.
All right. Name a place where a baby has wrinkles on their body.
Wrinkles.
Yes.
Their nose.
Nose.
Or face. Face.
Face.
All right, face.
Name a place where children often lose their parents.
The mall.
Mall.
Great answer.
Great
Great-
answer.
that is a good one.
We can now bring in Annie.
All right, Griffin. Well done.
Whew.
Annie's on her way. I think she's on her way.
Is she?
She was
Is she there?
She was turned in our direction. Now, did she actually take a phone call during the
Oh,
1 minute?
no.
No, here she comes. Here she comes.
Well, are we all right? Are we good?
A big thing of like cracklings out there or something. Or
Oh,
like,
cracklings.
I don't know.
There is something out there. I don't know what they are.
Okay.
Okay, Annie, Griffin's answers are
checking it
in.
out.
I've written
Okay.
them down. Here we go. Back to Braden.
1 minute on the clock. Name a person who might use a megaphone.
A protester.
A protester.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Name a phrase that starts with the word knock.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Knock, who's there?
I like that. You're going to love Griffin's answer.
All right.
Name a place people valet their cars.
At a restaurant.
Dragon.
At a bar.
That's
That's
the same
same.
thing.
They valet their cars at a like at a mansion party.
A mansion
Mansion party.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
So, I valet my car.
Well, yeah, all the
Yeah.
mansion parties you attend. Name a place where a baby has wrinkles.
On its little cute legs.
That's
Cute little
perfect.
legs.
Perfect.
Good
Fan in the
answer.
chat, I almost said that, but I stopped myself. So
Name a place where children often lose their parents.
they lose their parents at the mall.
Try again.
Okay. They lose their parents at an amusement park.
Amusement
Yes.
park.
That was going to be my answer.
That's a good answer.
At the theme park. Okay, here we go. Let's add
Wait
it
for
all
your
up.
Answers, Griffin.
All right. Start with Griffin here. Question number 1. Name a person who might use a megaphone. Griffin said.
Announcer.
That
Announcer.
makes sense.
Wrong one. That's what I was looking for.
Nothing.
0.
Yeah, 0.
Annie said protester. 0.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
What was number 1?
Police officer.
Oh.
Followed by cheerleader.
Oh.
Followed by
makes sense.
lifeguard. Followed by coach, although I've never seen a coach use a megaphone before.
We need you to run those drills.
Be
0-0
hilarious.
after 1.
Did we ask a 1950s crowd? Quite
Probably.
possibly. Name a phrase that starts with the word knock.
Griffin said, knocking boots.
Knocking
Ooh,
boots.
Griffin, Friday, Freaky Friday.
Well, I can't
Shoot,
believe it.
Griffin.
In the 50s, they didn't say that too
They
much. I
probably
don't
didn't
think.
say that.
All right. And he said, knock, knock. Who's there?
22 points.
Oh.
Very good.
22 to nothing.
All right. All right.
No one answer was knock, knock, who's there? Knock on wood, knock it off, knock out, knock your socks off, knock yourself out.
Mama said knock you out.
Yep, Mama said knock you
okay.
out. And Annie knocked out Griffin on that question.
All right. On to question 3.
Name a place where people valet their cars.
Griffin said restaurant. Here's his comeback
Number
answer.
1 answer, 50 points. So 50 to
Absolutely.
22.
Good comeback there,
Absolutely.
Griffin.
Annie said a mansion party.
That I was like, oh, dang it.
Well,
Restaurants, hotels, casinos,
I was gonna say casino.
hospital,
Hotels, casinos.
Yeah.
country club,
yeah.
Wow, those are good
Airports.
answers.
airports. That's an
50 to
expensive
22,
one.
Griffin after 3.
Airport.
Name a place where a baby has wrinkles.
Griffin said on his cute little face.
Oh,
0.
Wrinkle-free face.
They do have little chubby cheek wrinkles. Okay.
Annie said on their cute little legs.
17.
My, oh, my. Okay, it is 50 to 39 going to our last question. Very close game.
Number 1 answer was butt, followed by neck, legs, and arms.
Ah, so cute.
Name a place where children often lose their parents.
This is going to be close. Griffin said the mall.
Mall. 44 puts them at 94
Whoa.
points.
Wait, what ranking is that?
Not gonna say.
Oh, okay.
39. So she needs a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
She needs this to be a 50-50 question.
But Annie
so
said
she-
amusement park, and I think it's a great
That's a
answer.
good answer. That's why you put your kid on the leash or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't approve of that, but yeah.
Amusement
Sometimes
park.
you got to do it.
What do you think the over-under is for points here for her?
I think she's going to get like in the 30s or 20s or 30s.
I'm going to get in like the 70s, I think.
Well, that'd be more than 100.
Oh,
18 points.
oh my gosh.
94-57. Griffin with the dub.
Good job, Griffin.
Way to go, Griffin.
Oh, thank you.
You can be
Good
knocking
job,
boots
Danny.
in Vegas.
I was
At the
a little
Westgate.
scared
The
after that one.
You can be at a restaurant where your car's valeted.
Yep.
You can see an announcer introduce Soul of Motown. You could lose your kid at the mall. Theoretically, there's plenty of malls.
It's all possible.
And you could be knocking boots at the end of the night. Who knows? All of these things if you win. But congrats for winning today, Griffin. You hang on the line. Braden will get your information during the break, and you could be the winner at the end of the month. Thanks so much for calling in and playing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Griffin.
Top answers for the last one: mall, amusement park, grocery store, park, department store, and school.
I mean, mall and department store kind of the
I
same
agree.
thing.
I
Must be a
agree.
big I mean, maybe on the cathedral campus you could lose
Well,
your
yeah.
kid. I mean,
I mean, that's
Five
more like a
people.
university,
Five
so.
people said school.
interesting. 5 delinquent parents.
That's right.
All right, when we come back, final hour of the show, including Media Melanie, including Ask Us Anything. And up next, we hit reset on all the big topics of the day on The Fan. I've been so curious for so long, and the last playing of that commercial, I finally looked it up.
You looked up our boy Bopper?
You know what? He's not saying Bopper.
He is definitely saying Bopper.
He's saying Bob Burke.
Bob
No
Burke.
He's saying
Bob
Bob
way.
Burke. I'm Bob Burke.
All I hear is, hi, I'm Bopper.
I'm like, there's no way anybody calls him
I
Bopper.
thought everybody called him Bopper.
Bob Burke.
I'm Bopper.
Now I gotta listen to. I'm sure we'll hear it 15 more times for the end of the show.
I'm Bob Burke. It's Bob Burke.
Burke.
Bob Burke.
Well, I can only call him Bopper.
I call him Bopper too.
Can you please enunciate when you speak? Bob Burke.
I've heard this thing 500 times, and every time I've said, I'm Bopper.
I thought that was like his nickname. Hey, I'm Bob, and everyone knows him by Bopper.
But I'm like, why are you the chairman of the Burke America Family Parts Group and the head guy for RepairClinic.com, and your name's Bopper?
I never got that deep with it. I don't know.
I did. I've gone all the way down this street so many times. Bob Burke. Bob Burke. Bopper. I'm Bopper.
Literally, it's the only thing I can hear. Hi, I'm Bopper.
I'm Bopper. One time I thought to myself, I wonder if he's not saying Bopper.
No, I
Wow, we got
never
Padres news.
What?
Oh.
What?
Finally.
Do we have any? Here, this will just do.
There you go.
Padres news. What do
Well,
we
it
got?
says, according to Robert Murray, Padres have agreed to terms with Tyler Wade on a 1-year, $900,000 deal.
Oh, hey.
Okay,
With a
then.
$1 million club option for 2026 to avoid arbitration.
Holy
Per
moly.
Robert Murray on Baseball Insider's podcast. Take that for what it's worth.
Tyler Wade.
Until I see that officially reported by one of our local reporters,
Well,
but
so
makes sense.
they've agreed to him on 2025 at what was the price?
900,000.
$900,000.
Literally exactly what
And an
Fangraphs said he would
option
get.
for
A
2026?
club option.
A club option. Okay, yeah.
For $1 million in 2026, which they obviously don't have to pick up.
Okay, well,
He's back.
He's back.
he was a key utility guy for the
Vibe
Padres.
merchant.
You could put him anywhere. He could slide into any spot.
Left-handed
still
bat.
practices left-handed bat. Still practices at every position before every game. Yeah, was a big vibes guy. Really liked this team. Got along with everyone. Very energetic.
Co-holder of the Gatorade bucket. For all
Would
home
you think that
dumps
he would
after
be
walk-offs?
seen as a starter at any position?
No.
We're still
No,
considering
no,
him
no,
a
no.
utility bench guy.
Not if you want to
right.
win.
Yeah. Tyler Wade starting is the sign of distress for the San Diego Padres.
I'm just saying you don't think
If
they're
Tyler
thinking
Wade
that
is
at
the
all, right?
everyday starter by June or July,
Like this
the Padres
isn't
are
a
in
Jurickson
some.
Profar type
No.
2024 deal.
No.
Okay.
Could you imagine?
Okay, I'm just asking the question.
No, I mean, it's a great question.
If Tyler Wade plays like Jurickson
if
Profar did,
Tyler Wade hit
Like, are you starting
285 with
him in left
24
field if
homers,
you don't sign Jurickson Profar, you know what I mean? Is
drove
this-
in 90, scored 95,
that would be awesome.
380 on base.
There's two ways that he starts next year. One, he does that, or two, the Padres are in some serious disarray.
Yeah.
Which is
I mean-
more likely and less that I want to.
The only
go
reason
down
I
that path.
enjoyed entertaining that is because if you had said to me on November 22nd, 2023,
Oh yeah.
That's
well,
a-
I mean,
hey,
you were
Profar-
saying that. You were
yeah.
saying that in like February.
Yeah. Well, maybe Profar will do it. I'll be like, "Pfft, come on. I would have thought Tyler Wade had a better chance than Profar.
Well, you
Be
know what? For
real.
a guy like Tyler Wade who bounces from club to club to club, and give him credit, I mean, he has sustained a career because of what he brings to a club. He's a utility. He can slide around. He's one of those players that a coaching staff absolutely loves because he's like a conduit of your staff into the clubhouse. Give him credit. He can go in the offseason feeling pretty good. You know, you got this squared away.
Anybody care what Greg Amsinger predicted 6 free agent signings?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Does
But
he
he
still
has-
have a job at MLB Network?
Well, MLB Network put it out, so maybe
Okay.
he does. They did have he does have one free agent going to the Padres on his 6 of predictions.
Okay, who's that?
He predicted Juan Soto, Corbin Burns, Roki Sasaki, Max Fried, Alex Bregman, Blake Snell.
Wait, to where?
He
So he
predicted
put
all
one
of
of
them in
those
different
6
spots.
guys
One
to
of those
us?
6 guys, Greg Amsinger says will
Let
be
it
a
be
Padre.
Sasaki.
Wait.
Let it
Say
be
it again. Who are
Sasaki.
the names?
Soto, Snell, Burns, Bregman, Fried, Sasaki. Again,
Give us
this is
Sasaki.
just one
I
of the
say
hosts
Sasaki.
making
Yeah.
guesses.
Give
Because
us
I don't think it's
Sasaki.
any of the other guys. I think it's Sasaki as well.
He has Sasaki going to the Mets.
Oh.
He has two players going to the Mets, one going to the Twins, one going to the Angels, one going to the Astros, and one going to the Padres.
He has
Okay,
Corbin
can we just
Burns
stop
coming
this
to the
right now?
Padres.
No, I think it's fun. Let's go.
Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns not a Padre.
Okay.
Freed. He's giving us Freed.
Oh, Freed.
Yes.
Good call.
Max Fried to the Padres.
Oh.
And he's probably doing, well, they need pitching, and they drafted him, and they
chance.
traded him away.
Greg Amsinger, you are so unplugged on the San Diego Padres.
Well, who do you think's going to the Angels out of that group?
gosh.
Soto, Snell, Burns, Bregman, Fried, Sasaki. I already told you it's not Sasaki, and it's not Fried.
Snell.
No.
Bregman?
No.
Okay, I'm almost out.
Corbin Burns.
Give me a break.
That's what I said.
Give me a break.
Wait,
Going
look at my
where?
reaction.
Going where?
To
Angels.
the Angels.
Oh, I don't think so.
So that leaves you with
They just signed
think
Kyle
so.
Hendricks, my dude.
Soto, Snell, Bregman for Twins, Astros, Mets.
Snell,
Soto
Bregman
to
back to the
Mets.
Bregman back to the Astros.
Correct.
Soto to Mets.
Soto to the Mets.
Yeah.
Blake Snell, the Twins.
This is dumb.
Exactly. That's what makes it hilarious.
This is what the
This
offseason is for, right?
dumb.
And the tweet goes, do you agree with Greg's predictions? And then massive just everybody freaking out on the things. All the Twins fans, yes, absolutely. Mets fans, yeah. Padres fans, Angels fans, ha. Funny.
Angels fans are like, we're getting Burns.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if the Padres signed Max Fried, what an incredible signing that would be.
How much is Max Fried expected to?
All the monies.
Like
Was
30
it
million a year?
Sure.
Was he
Okay.
tier
He
2
was
or
a
tier
tier
3?
2. He was a tier 2.
I find it hard to imagine.
I find
but-
it impossible.
He's trying to right a
imagine.
wrong. For
Unless-
trading
unless-
him in the first place.
Unless we are
Yeah, he's coming home.
right.
Yes.
We are
bring him home.
trading Cease. We are trading Suarez. We are trading Cronenworth. Now we have cleared $30 million. Now we're giving all that money to Max Fried.
Or we're going over.
What if Amsinger
pile out.
ends up being right on all of these?
I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Yes.
I'll tell you that. And we'll do 2 segments on it.
And Padres fans should be very excited at that point. Max Fried's coming to the Padres.
Yeah.
Don't clip that and say
He's not.
that I'm saying
He's
Max
not.
Fried is coming to the Padres.
He's
He's
not. That's
not.
Greg Amsinger's prediction. He's not actually. The poor sap that just tuned in right when Annie said
Yeah.
that.
Right.
You're like, what?
Yeah, let's
Max
go!
Fried?
Oh my God. No, you got Tyler Wade coming
Hey,
back.
Tyler Wade with the Yankees for 5 years, then with Oakland. No, sorry, with the Angels for a year, then Oakland for a year, then the Padres for a year. Now he gets to, like I said, go into his holiday season knowing he's coming back to San Diego.
Yeah, that's great.
It
for
is.
him.
It is for him. It really is. And you know, it's a low cost move and a guy that fits with the clubhouse. Do you think that AJ Preller heard us yesterday saying, AJ, we need some moves. You need to do something,
hey,
my man.
Was it that, or was it the fact that there's a deadline today at 5 o'clock?
Could be that, Braden.
That
It
could
could
be
be
that.
that.
It could be the
Well,
deadline.
could
Also,
be
the
the
one
deadline.
person,
That.
literally the one guy on the Padres list that I said they would possibly
I know.
non-tender
Yeah, they could
is
possibly
the
non-tender.
first guy they signed.
So maybe Luis Patino is coming around the corner.
Within, by
Yeah.
the way, within like 20 or 30 minutes of you saying that, it's almost like AJ's like, all right,
AJ's
Craig,
like-
I'll show you,
Yeah.
kid.
I'll show you.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, you think you know?
You think
don't
we
know.
won't, huh? You think we won't, huh? Okay. Okay.
All right, well, good
wow.
Give me Wade's agent. How's 900,000 sound? Good. Sign him. Suck it, Craig. That's AJ Preller today.
God, if it was true,
That'd be so funny. I would totally.
if it was true, it'd just be amazing.
All of a sudden, his burner account Judd just goes like, "Told you, Craig."
Yeah,
That's
give me the Office mockumentary style,
That's
you
right.
know, corner picture of him in the office, like the radio's on. He goes, well, the one that would be non-tendered is Wade. He
right.
goes,
stuff. He goes,
I'll show
Yeah.
you, buddy.
you're not.
Yeah, no, this is you. This is AJ Preller.
AJ Preller is Matt Damon.
Yeah, no, we'd
in-
like Tyler
in-
Wade. Yeah, no.
In the
Yeah,
what's
no,
that
we'll
movie
go with
called?
that 900,000.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
No.
AJ
900?
Preller's
No, yeah.
Matt Damon slamming it against the diner glass. How about them apples?
You like apples, Elsten?
That's
I
right.
signed Tyler Wade. I got his number. How you like them apples?
What's that movie called again?
Goodwill Hunting.
That's right. It's a great movie.
I haven't seen it in a long
Me
time.
neither.
Slams anything.
Remember when there was, I mean, that was like the movie.
Take that, Craig.
That was our first real introduction to Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And they wrote that movie together.
It's a great movie. It's
crazy.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Robin Williams is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's really good in that movie as the kind
Going
of
to
dumb
see a
construction
something about
worker
a
buddy.
something,
Isn't
right?
Casey Affleck
Going
in
to
that
see
too?
a guy
His
about a
brother in
man.
that
No,
movie?
going to see a girl about a horse.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Going to see a man about a horse.
A man about a horse, I think it
Yeah,
was.
that's right.
I know I need to.
It's great. The problem with that movie is like I get it
Yes.
confused with The Departed because they're all like the same cast as in The Departed.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's all
true.
written by the same guys. They're
That's
all in The
true.
Departed.
That's true.
The Departed.
The Departed was also a
Great
great
movie.
movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Also.
No,
a
he's got to
great
go see
movie.
about a girl. I don't know, guys.
Yeah,
Never mind.
it's
I don't
probably
know.
not a man about a
Yeah,
horse.
That's all right.
forget
She
it.
doesn't. She
That's a
doesn't. She
different
doesn't.
movie.
Annie doesn't do her streaming or movie
I don't
homework
remember
anyway.
lines at all, except for how do you like them apples? So
You like them apples, Craig?
It's Friday.
You know, you doubted me
Well.
last year with Profar.
it's completely the train has completely derailed the tracks.
How about Tyler Wade? Huh?
Can we quickly shout out though too? I learned that it was Presley and Hamby that decorated our studio.
Oh,
Looks
really?
great.
Overnight, and
Do
they
we
did
need
a
the
great job.
Shout out Presley.
Camera-
Shout out Hamby.
Yes,
Sure, if we
gave us
can.
Yeah, we got those. We got the little
stockings.
garlands.
There's Annie.
Yes.
There's the tree. Sorry if you're making you sick.
There's
'cause
actually
the-
like
Whoa.
3
The
the AI is
trees,
tree.
freaking out.
but they're like miniature. But
Now
that's
we got
cool.
Yeah,
more tinsel. Was this tinsel?
Yeah, tinsel. We got the little trees.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So they came in late. I guess during
Yeah,
Scraby's
little stockings
show.
over here. I can
Stockings,
do
right.
that. I
Yeah,
can
they were
do
held
that.
with care.
They were
Held with care.
They decorated during like Scraby's show, which was just very kind of them.
This is the most decorating this place has ever been.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know what's something that's really good that's been done? The Dave Roberts poster has been put down low in the corner and covered by Ben's glory hole.
Mm-hmm.
So now Ben's glory hole is just feeding Dave Roberts.
Pause.
Oh, well, pause. Getting 2 or 3 now.
I'll hold
Might
my
have to
hand
be
up.
bench
Hold
Yeah,
my
like
hand
the
up for
camera
that
doesn't want to
foul.
look at you anymore.
Hold my hand up for that foul.
That's right.
Oh, Adam Klug says they decorated yesterday during Thursday Night Football. Presley and Hamby, thank you very much. They did a great job.
Great
Very
job.
nice of them.
Well, I'm
yes.
glad they didn't come in overnight. That would seem excessive.
It would be very
If they
elves
came in,
and
like,
Christmassy.
with
huh?
little
2
elves
a.m.
and
Yeah, exactly.
elf
Keebler
hats.
elf outfits.
Who
They broke
decorated
in.
this? I think it was the Magic Elves. And then meanwhile, they're like, no, nobody wants to give us credit for being up at 2 in the morning.
Right,
Sick.
right.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Amazing.
Dan in the chat said, was that the Blair Witch Project? The way
That
that you
was
were
some
turning
shaky
the
cam.
camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying that. Well, the thing is, it's an AI camera, so it was looking for my face while I was trying to move the camera
Did you
around.
see the shadow of
Hey,
the man
Greg,
pointing to the wall in
Here's
the
on
corner?
the red Greg. What do you think of our decorations?
Wow.
Presley and Hamby did
That's
them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. These are
You're not on.
festive.
Okay.
Am I
Hang
on?
on.
Am I on? Wow, these are pretty festive.
this thing
Kind of
work?
looks like you need lights though.
We do, I
Kinda
think,
lacking
need
in
lights.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did you say you wanted to bring some in, Annie,
mean-
or you were volunteering yourself
I said
to
I
do
would,
that?
if I bring them in, someone else has to hang them.
Well, there's some able-bodied men around
Right.
here that could probably help you
Right.
with that.
They all
think.
work at K-Zone.
Right.
Hamby is
He
an
is.
able-bodied
That's right,
man. I
100%.
I
agree.
want to understand how your studio got like the Christmas tree with the lights, and so did Kixie.
Because it's K-Zone.
Like the long, like the big one.
You're talking to the wrong guy
Okay.
about the
I just wanna
allocation of the
understand.
Christmas
Yeah.
decorations.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I am actually heading out of here. I'm going to go start my Thanksgiving
All
right. Fun.
vacation. So I just want to say I am thankful for you guys for having me on and having a good
We're
time with
thankful
all
for
of
you,
you.
Greg.
And even though I get in the penalty box, I
we
appreciate
haven't
it.
fouled today.
I appreciate you.
Craig
All right?
has 3 fouls right
I
now,
do have
Greg.
3 fouls, so I
Oh,
gotta
wow.
be careful.
Careful.
gotta be
Careful.
Yeah,
Have
well,
a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your Eagles.
Go
Indeed.
Birds.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, here's the
Okay.
problem, Greg, is
Cheers,
if
my
Craig fouls out, you're going to have to come back in
That's a
and replace
good
him
point.
off
So
the
don't go
bench. So you
too
can't
far.
go too
Because
far.
2 more fouls and I fell out. So
That's like Daniel Jones playing safety or whatever they were going to do.
That's right. That's right.
there goes Greg. Okay, let's take a timeout.
Are we off on Monday? I feel like this feels like a show before
I know,
a
it
holiday
does.
break.
No,
Some of us have to work
no,
3
no,
times next
Braden.
week.
We're not off on Monday.
Everybody else is.
Everyone else is
That's
off
right.
on Monday.
It must be nice.
Just not us. We'll be back. Every day will be
You know what?
empty Odyssey Palace.
Like
Day.
we said yesterday, what gets us up
I
in the
might
morning?
steal one of their trees.
Trying to
Seriously.
grind
They're
it
not
out,
there.
trying to provide good content for we're looking out for the people of San Diego. They need the great content during the holiday season. They're driving around getting their supplies for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Craig and I are doing that for the first 3 days. For 3 days, and he's got 2. But
She's got 2. She's at least a 2/3 soldier.
that's true. Hey, you know what? That's
2 out of
better than
3
most.
Is better than. I mean,
Better
that's
than
the
most.
odds are
2 more days
over
than
50%. Right.
you're going to enter this building 2 more days than most people that work in this building.
That's for sure. Like 3 more days because most of them didn't show up today.
That's true. Which they never really.
I think
do
you should feel good about the Wednesday show because people will be in their cars driving.
That's
most
right.
likely, and they'll be able to carry you for a long time.
My wife's in the chat saying that if the trees are up at the station, then therefore the tree could be up at our house.
Oh,
That's
we
right,
open up this
Mitzi.
can of worms again, right?
To
Weren't you
which-
against it?
Yeah, well,
I
to
agree
which
with
I
Mitzi.
say, I mean, they've got a trip to Long Beach scheduled this weekend. If they just want to stick around and put up decorations, cool. But
I think you should go with my
otherwise,
dad's approach.
wait till next week.
I think you should go with my dad's approach. Put it up, don't turn it on.
It is
until
a good approach.
after Thanksgiving. Because then you knock it out. Then you don't have to worry about it. Then you can enjoy it a little bit longer. But it's not lit up yet. It's up.
It's a reasonable compromise and one that I might struggle to accept.
They're
come
going to Long
Monday.
Beach. When are you going to Long Beach?
Beach Inglewood.
I'm staying home with the dog this weekend.
So,
This is a papa
Seems like
papa
you
weekend.
and Sammy can bond over putting up the tree.
That seems
What
like
a
a terrible
great-
idea to me.
what a great, although Mitzi's in the chat, but what a great surprise for Mitzi and James when they come
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
House
That
is
would
all
be a shocker.
decorated.
That would be a shocker.
What else are you going to do?
I mean,
We don't have great NFL games. The NBA Cup, it's okay.
NBA Cup's great tonight.
Tonight, though.
Tonight.
But they're still here tonight.
That's true.
I think the light should be up for your for family. That'd be nice. And you could just say Sammy did it. The dog helped you out.
We named the dog Indiana.
That's right.
Let's take a timeout. When we
Named
come back,
after a dog.
when we come back, Media Melanie standing by with Crossing Streams. She's got a TV streaming recommendation for you. I've got a reality TV. If you just want to have fun, wallow in the mud, so to speak, and have a good time watching reality TV, which I know my co-host loves. I've got one for you.
I just was watching some Below Deck last night.
Were you?
Or as Tyler likes to say, Under Deck. Yes.
I need to
Underdeck.
get in the Landman.
I haven't started it yet.
It's so weird seeing Billy Bob Thornton playing a different role at the same stadium that Permian plays at a Permian high school football
That's
game.
what I heard.
It's so weird to me that he's like, it's part of the deal. And it's just like, wait a minute, aren't you the coach? Aren't you the
That's
coach
funny.
from Friday Night Lights? Shouldn't you be? What's
That
going
would
on
throw
here?
me off
You're the
big
oil
time.
guy now. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same. Like the film, like the shot looks like the exact same from like the
Yes,
movie.
Of Coach Taylor.
Or
no,
whatever
it's Billy
his
Bob.
coach.
Wasn't it Billy Bob in the movie? I
Yeah,
don't
Billy
know.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thornton.
he was the head coach in the
He was the
movie.
head coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's based on a true story. but-
Our buddy Brian Grubb, who we've had on a couple of times,
Yeah.
in his newsletter today, he did a whole thing about this. Like, something's going on. Either it's a universe where Landman is where Friday Night Lights never happened,
yes.
or the Landman character is at the game and people keep coming up to him going, you know, you look surprisingly like Billy Bob Thornton,
Yeah,
who
wait a
played the head
minute.
coach of this team in a movie.
John Hamm's daughter runs track at TCU in the
wow.
TV series. So there's a bunch of Fort Worth stuff. And when they came to film at TCU, they did allow, I think they allowed the film students to like watch how they do things, which was super cool. So
I love John Hamm.
I can't wait to see the frog references.
Let's find out what Melanie's got for us this week after this break on The Fan. 126 on the Fan. Welcome back. We got 2 segments left today on Annie and Elsten. At 2 o'clock, Wynn and Chris will check in. They've got a 4-hour program for you. Roll you till 6. Then get your passport ready. Time for a trip inside Scrabe Nation. I heard the border policies there are extreme. That's Scrabe Nation.
Do you have to come in blasting Zombie Nation? That needs to be the new song of this show.
You can enter Scrabe Nation anytime you like.
Zombie.
But you just
Zombie
can never
Nation.
leave. Here we go. Let's
Scrabe
head out
Nation.
to the 97.3 The Fan hotline and welcome in our Friday 1:20 p.m. or 1:25 p.m. contributor every week. She gives us a television streaming recommendation in our Crossing Streams segment. This is Media Melanie joining us once again on Annie and Elsten. Hello, Melanie. How are you?
I'm well, glad it's Friday, and looking forward to the holiday week ahead next week.
We all are, and some folks, Melanie, not us, but some folks have all of next week off. Some folks are going to be looking for plenty of things to watch along the way. Every week you give us a television streaming recommendation. What do you got for us this time?
Well, Craig, I'm going to preface this by saying I've only watched 3 episodes of this one so far because it dropped all at once on Hulu, but it has already earned a spot on my top shows of 2024 because it just blew me away right from the start. Say Nothing on Hulu is a gripping true. Oh, have you watched it yet?
No, but I've seen stuff, and I was like, okay, so now that you're bringing it up, it's on my radar big time.
Yeah, these all-at-once drops are tough because, it's hard to make the time to watch them all. But I am going episode by episode, and it is just an absolutely gripping true crime historical drama, and it's inspired by Patrick Radden Keefe's nonfiction book of the same name, and it's set against the backdrop of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. It is set in Belfast, and it opens up with a haunting disappearance of Jean McGonville, who's a widowed mother of 10, who vanished in 1972 after the Irish Republican Army, the IRA, stormed into her home and took her away with all of her kids watching, never to be seen again. And the formula for the show combines multiple timelines from the 50s through the early 2000s, and they use the device of narrators who are getting interviewed, kind of reliving and sharing their involvement in one of the most turbulent periods in modern history. This narrator flashback type of formula works really well to bring together these various perspectives and timelines. And again, only 3 episodes in, but so far it's just been such a dynamic watch with a multi-generational view into this political conflict, these moral dilemmas, personal betrayals. And the core of what I've seen so far focuses on a pair of sisters, Dolores and Marion Price. They are a couple of the first women to join the IRA, and they are not afraid to get their hands dirty with some pretty major extreme actions to solidify their roles. And I always appreciate strong female leads, and they deliver. And they also feature a prominent real-life figure, Jerry Adams, who's portrayed as a high-ranking IRA commander. And they have this little disclaimer after each episode that says Jerry Adams has always denied being a member of the IRA or participating in any IRA violence, but it kind of seems like he was involved. This stellar cast brings raw intensity to the story. It captures the humanity and the extreme horror of this era. And every performance just feels lived in and authentic, and it makes the historical events not just engaging and informative, but it really sets this deeply personal and impactful tone without feeling too contrived. And it really does such a good job blending this mystery with a deep look at the political extremism and living in such a divided society. It's got historical thriller, psychological drama, and plenty of action. So whether you are a history buff, a true crime fan, or just looking for a meaningful binge watch, I cannot recommend this one enough, and I'm so looking forward to finishing it. It's the type of show that just sticks with you long after the credits roll, leaving you with lots to think and talk about. And there are 9 episodes total. They are all available now on Disney Plus with Hulu. And Craig, this one just really, really blew me away. So I'm very excited to share this with everybody.
Well, that sounds amazing, and I'm looking for that little slot. My dramatic series slot is kind of open right now, so I'm sure I will start Say Nothing over the course of this weekend. Again, we are now 2024, so we're of a time where I'm sure a lot of people in the audience don't even remember what the Troubles were. All of the violence that took place in Northern Ireland from the 60s, really all the way through the 1990s. And, these days you go to a bar and order an Irish car bomb, and that's just such a gallows abstraction of what happened in real life with car explosions, car bombs in Ireland. So fascinating period of history. I'm just curious, Media Melanie, did you ever watch Dairy Girls?
I did not, but I've got a good friend who loved that show, and it's been on my list. I just have not had a chance to watch it yet.
Well, I just cannot recommend Dairy Girls enough, and I recommended it back on Ben and Woods back in the day. And Annie, you would absolutely love this series. This is a comedy.
Yeah.
On Netflix. It's extremely funny.
Dairy
Girls.
Okay.
Dairy is the name. Derry, not Dary.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Derry. That is the name of a Northern Ireland town.
Okay.
And this series takes place during the Troubles and follows girls in Catholic school. But
I would like this, yeah.
It's extraordinarily funny. It's literally one of the funniest shows of the century. Dairy Girls is so funny. It's like roll, side hurts, explosively funny. So I literally cannot recommend Dairy Girls enough. So if you want to have a perfect balancer, shot and chaser for Say Nothing, Melanie, get serious and then watch Dairy Girls and just laugh your knickers off. It is such a funny show. In fact, I'll just leave that for my recommendation for this week. I was going to talk about House of Villains on E, but I can save that for another week because Dairy Girls is it, and it does. Like the politics of it will trickle into the show. There'll be a protest in town or, little things, but it's so funny that one of the lead actresses has one of the most plastic faces. And I don't mean plastic surgery. I mean like every emotion, every thought is on her face, at all times. Yes. And she plays it like she's just a real physical comedian. She's so funny in playing someone who's a little stuck up and a little haughty, feels a little bit better than everyone else, but is actually completely insecure inside. That's just one of the characters. I'm telling you, this show is a laugh riot. It's 10-10 for humor. So Say Nothing for seriousness. Dairy Girls for incredible funny. Northern Ireland winds up being the thematic point for this particular episode of Crossing Streams with Media Melanie. Melanie, let everyone know where they can follow you all week long.
Yes, you can follow me at Media Melanie on all the socials, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel at MediaMelanieTV.com.
Great stuff, Melanie.
Appreciate you. Talk to you next. Well, you know what? We're off on Friday, Melanie, because it's Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So talk to you in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too.
Media Melanie.
Thank you.
Crossing Streams with Media Melanie. You bet. Take care. Our regular Friday feature right here on The Fan. Okay, last segment coming up. It is time to officially open the phones once again.
Or to put money in the Salvation Army thing at the grocery store. Either way.
Just like Santa Claus?
Yes.
I could just stand there all day.
It is time for either. Right.
But in particular, call us. 833-288-0973. Number to use, 833-288-0973. You've got 15 minutes to call the show. A solid 15-minute window in which you can call the program. And if you do, we're going to throw you on hold, and then we're going to put you up on the air. Call us before 1:50 p.m., and we're going to get you in 833-288-0973. We only have one requirement, which is that you come preloaded with a question to ask the show. Annie and Elsten wrapping things up right after this on The Fan. Kind of reminds me of that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where Larry realizes if he wears a certain thing, everyone will ignore him, and then he's like, I'm so happy that no one wants to spend any time with me. We were just talking about something else. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
Doesn't
it.
affect you.
I don't think that's good for the listeners.
Oh,
Kendrick
sucks.
Lamar has a new album out.
It's #1 on Apple.
Shockingly. Dropped this morning, #1 on Apple. I'll be listening to it shortly in about 19 minutes. But
He says he has a tattoo that says, in nice terms, F everybody.
yeah, that's one of the lyrics.
I
is-
could see Scraby having a tattoo that's like, I hate everybody. He wouldn't say F, but he would say, I hate everybody.
I mean, shouldn't he have a tattoo that says, well, that's just great, everybody?
Yeah, he should. Right.
I'll buy that.
Just put it right on his forehead. Well, that's just great, everybody. All right. 833-288-0973 is our number. 833-288-0973. You've got 7 minutes left to call. Let's prove the concept and play the bumper.
The bopper.
Play the bopper.
Bopper.
The Bob Burke.
I'm Bob Burke.
Brutal.
Here we go. 833-288-0973. Trevor in the chat asks, what's the one must free agent the Padres need to sign?
A starting pitcher.
Yes.
A starting pitcher.
Could be anybody.
A solid starting pitcher.
I mean, I think it's fair to be as generic as that.
Yeah.
Starting pitcher.
The Padres have Dylan Cease, Michael King, Yu Darvish under contract, Matt Waldron, Randy Vasquez under, control, Johnny Brito under control. You'd really love one or two guys that could slot into that rotation and allow those guys to be your depth.
One of those could be Roki Sasaki.
Of course. Well, Roki Sasaki is. I mean, I'm going to answer every question. Roki Sasaki. Who's the one free agent the Padres need to sign? Roki Sasaki. They need to sign Roki Sasaki. So let's just do that. I won't worry about anything else. Good stuff. Here's Jake in Lakeside. Hi, Jake. Welcome back to the program. Ask us anything.
Hey, happy Friday. How's it going?
It's going great, man.
Happy
How are
Friday.
I'm good. What made you guys want to be like radio talk host, and Braden, what made you want to be a producer for a radio talk show, and how'd you guys get your position at 97.3 The Fan?
Okay, well, origin stories is what we're looking for.
He's looking specifically for radio.
Okay, well, I wanted to be a play-by-play announcer once I was 16. I knew once I was a sophomore in high school what I wanted. I've been able to do that to some extent. When I was in college at UCSD, the biggest sports station on the West Coast was the Mighty 690 here in San Diego. And when I got out of, or actually I think my fifth year in college, I started interning there, answering phones, being behind the scenes, eventually worked in a job very similar to Braden, producing shows. So I was all around the industry. And, the reason to want to be a show host was because that's where it's at, right? I mean, in sports radio, hosting one of the Monday through Friday shows, that's it. You're in a slot now. You found it. You've got a show. So I'm so thrilled and happy to be here. Now, as you know, Annie, I mean, I spent 15 years in team sports, never thinking beyond podcasts that I'd probably come back into radio and do a show like this. But hey, 97.3 is a great place to work. Odyssey is a great place to work. Michael and Adam are great bosses. And this is a great time slot. So that's why I'm here.
I mean, great answer. Yes. What is his name?
Jake. In Lakeside.
Jake from Lakeside. Yes, Jake, I've done print journalism and broadcast. And when the Padres didn't bring me back for the TV broadcast, this happened to open up at the same time. And it seemed like a great opportunity to be able to say more than you get to say on certain broadcast platforms. A lot of times you don't get to talk but for 30 seconds, So this was a good opportunity for me and an opportunity to flex a different muscle that I haven't flexed yet. Braden?
Want to get into sports broadcasting, so that's what I went to school for, and just trying to work my way up the ladder.
Here's Martin in Santee. Thanks for the question, Jake. Appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend. Martin, you're on the show. Ask us anything.
Good afternoon. This is kind of a follow-up to the crossover that was done this morning. So about the donor, and I just want to say, Annie, it really motivated me. It really touched me. So I haven't gone yet to the DMV, but I'm going to put it on my license. And again, I hope this isn't too much of a too personal a question, but are any of you like the official donors? And Annie, again, a great story this morning, really touching. It was nice, just very thoughtful. So just curious if you're official organ donors, I guess I should say. So that's all.
I am.
Yes.
A little dot on the.
I think my driver's license says that.
What a nice call. And if you didn't hear Ben and Woods talk this morning about being a donor, and then Mark Neville from the Holiday Bowl called and talked about how he was a donor and donated bone marrow and donated an organ, and it was actually really, really thoughtful. And then I did a crossover with Ben and Woods and Polly about a story I wrote for the UT early in my career about a heart transplant donor and how the donor, the recipient took on the characteristics of the donors, like heart. Essentially, like their likes and dislikes, and there's a lot of science behind that now, so it's pretty cool. But I am a donor, yeah, and I think it's a pretty special thing to hear all these stories.
Yeah, good to donate, organs and all that other stuff, but also donate blood as much as you can. I am the recipient of blood donations as an infant. Blood bank saved my life. That's why I love doing the shows. That's out cool. At the blood drive. So I am one of those blood bank survivors. So every time where you go and donate blood, you go, am I really helping people or anything like that? I am living proof of helping out the blood bank. So it'd be good to go back to one of those. I mean, this week it was kind of hard for us, but I definitely appreciate when people donate blood at all of the Holiday Bowl blood drives and all the San Diego blood bank drives. It's a major appreciation from me and my family, obviously, to be here in front of you guys. Wow. So I really appreciate when people go out there and donate blood because I am the example of somebody that was not supposed to survive that is now living in a healthy life and thriving in life because of the blood bank.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, good stuff, Martin. Have a great weekend, all right?
Good question.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. I've got one last question for you guys, and we were going to actually start the show with it, but now we can end the show with it. We got about 5 minutes. Last night, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, game at the Browns Stadium, played in a driving snowstorm.
Miserable.
It absolutely looked miserable in the stands. And I did post on Blue Sky during the game that, you couldn't in any way get me into those stands. Like, there's no way conceptually that you could sell me with free tickets, a puffy coat, or anything else on the concept of being there in Cleveland, Ohio, at a Browns Steelers game in the middle of a regular season in a driving snowstorm. I'm sure so many of those people have colds today, or a cough, or they feel miserable, or they're about to get sick from the experience they had.
Browns won, though. I'm sure they said it was worth it, but...
So my question to you guys is, what's the worst weather condition sporting event that you've either gone to voluntarily or covered?
Yeah, for me, they all center around reporting on them, right? So for covering the Chargers on the road in Detroit and in Cleveland. Actually, I have two from Cleveland. One was baseball side, but I would do the out and abouts out in the tailgate lot.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to get there and just go to the press box and, you endure a little cold along the way, but nothing big. But I was out there walking with my tripod, my camera, in the snow. It was completely freezing. The fans were incredible, though. I will say, those cold weather places, the fans who are out there tailgating are so much fun, and they make it a blast. But it was definitely snowing, and it was frigid temps, and I think my camera seized up a few times. I mean, it was really something, but it was fun. The other one was a doubleheader for the Padres when I was sidelining, and you're out there the whole time, and the rain was just spraying sideways into my face the entire time. But I don't think I had an umbrella for that one. But it was fun. It was still a good time. They're still fun.
My junior year, we played Baylor. Final week of the year, and both ranked. Baylor, I think, was still competing for a potential Big 12 championship spot. TCU was trying to get into the Alamo Bowl, and we won in a overtime game to beat Baylor and knock them out of a potential Big 12 championship spot and probably a playoff spot. But it was sleeting during the Thanksgiving weekend. It was cold enough to snow. It snowed a little bit, and then it was raining, but it was still it was just right around that cusp of freezing. And I was on the roof of the stadium at Amon G. Carter Stadium on the home side where we did our filming. And, I remember running out I had to run down because we thought the little device that records the ESPN clean feed was not plugged in properly. And so I had to run down to the TV truck. At the one moment, it was sleeting for the game and just torrential downpour. I had to, negotiate with the ESPN crew, which was always a chore when I had to go do the HMR 10 job. That's the little device that does it. And I got back up, and I was soaked, and it was freezing. So then it would start to freeze on your body after it rained. And part of the job was running SD cards down to the office to upload the film during the game. So I'd run down to the office. I'd hand the card. I'd go to our locker room area. I'd strip down to my underwear, take a blow dryer, and dry my body and my clothes off. It would take about 5-10 minutes, and I'd run back up to the top where we were filming at, and then have to do that again in the second and third and fourth quarter of the Baylor TCU game. And I remember, because it was Thanksgiving break, right? So that night the night before I had Whataburger because it was a Black Friday game. And I remember getting picked up, and it's sleeting outside, and we all carpooled together, the video crew, because we're the only, saps that were still out there in college. Everybody went home for the Thanksgiving holiday, and everybody on the video crew was so excited to go to the game. Like, I can't believe we get to stay. This is great. I'm sitting there going I'm going to be honest with y'all. I would rather be in Southern California right now at Thanksgiving watching this on television instead of being there. And, I was the only one that had to go up and down and do all the rigmarole. But, now that I look back, it was a pretty fun time. But I would never, ever, ever sign up or pay to do that unless it was TCU winning a national championship in football. That'd be the only case, and that would never happen.
Those are
with the weather.
Early on reporting, like early career industry jobs too, where you're like, that's what you got to do, right?
Mine was 0-4 in the rain. Chargers losing to the Jets and Nate Keating missing field goals. And it was a miserable walk.
It's the wind that'll get you, the wind and the rain.
That's it for us. Gwen and Chris are next. Have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday.
Bye.